Chapter 1393. After all, after conquering this world, they had to use bloodshed to suppress it. Only after making these people afraid would they become obedient. If they treated them well, they would think that they were easy to talk to and would rebel. This royal city belonged to a legatee who had been killed by Zhao Fu. They had resisted quite intensely, but they were quickly conquered. Great Qin's soldiers were still fighting in the other continents, clearing out the resisting factions. At the same time, they were subduing regions. Because this continent was the closest, it was the one that Great Qin had taken control of the fastest. Zhao Fu made this place a temporary base and waited for the battle to end to calculate their losses and gains. After arriving at the royal palace, Wang Ergu gave a fawning smile and said, "Your Majesty, this lowly one has prepared a place for you." Hearing this, Zhao Fu nodded and followed him to the royal palace. There were 30 or so corpse pall women here, and their expressions were all different. Some looked worried, some looked fearful, some looked hateful, and some looked sad. Before, they had been talking, but seeing Wang Ergu bring Zhao Fu in, they shut their mouths in fear. They knew who Zhao Fu was. Wang Ergu introduced them and said, "Your Majesty, they are from the royal family of this kingdom. Some of them were once king's concubines. This lowly one has brought you the prettiest one. That one is the empress, and the other is the empress dowager." Zhao Fu looked at where Wang Ergu was pointing. One was tall and slim, had tender skin, and was peerlessly beautiful. She wore a white palace dress and gave off a cold aura. She was the empress and was called Shueli. She was most likely one of the top beauties in the corpse pall world. The other had a voluptuous figure and a pretty face. She wore a silver palace dress and gave off a gentle and loving aura. She was most likely the Empress Dowager, and she was called Yuelian. Both of them looked at Zhao Fu hatefully because not only was Zhao Fu afraid that their kingdom would be destroyed, but he had also killed their men. "Your Majesty, enjoy yourself. This lowly one will be leaving now." Seeing that Zhao Fu was quite interested in the Empress and Empress Dowager, Wang Ergu happily smiled and said goodbye. He left the royal palace and closed the door. Zhao Fu walked towards the group of women and began to enjoy the fruits of his victory. Su, Shao, and a few other inheritors wanted to discuss something with Zhao Fu and asked Qin not to be so cruel and bloody. However, Wang Ergu stopped them from entering. Wang Ergu said with a smile, "Now that His Majesty is busy, only women can go." Su and Shao didn't understand at first, but when they came outside and heard the intense sounds coming from inside, they understood. Su smiled charmingly as she pushed open the door and saw women lying on the ground. Empress Shueli and Empress Dowager Yuelian were panting under Zhao Fu. Facing this scene, Su flirtatiously smiled and walked toward Zhao Fu. The corpse puppet's expression was ugly, and she was also a bit angry. She clenched her fists. As the winner, Zhao Fu had the right to do everything. She had also heard that every time Emperor Qin conquered a place, he would collect all the beauties for him to enjoy. However, the legatee that Zhao Fu had just killed was the one who had the best relationship with her. They even had a good impression of each other. However, not only had Zhao Fu killed him, but he had also taken his women, mother, and sister. Moreover, his mother, the woman he loved the most, was moaning like a slut under him. Su had already joined in, and Shao wanted to leave, but did not dare to. This was because with Qin's cruel, perverted, and cold-blooded personality, not only would he abuse her, but he would also make her faction and family suffer. Now, Shao could only wait at the door, and Su could not take it anymore. She begged that man like a slut, and Su looked quite disdainful. Suddenly, Shao felt an invisible force grabbing her and directly dragging her into the room. The door of the room was slammed shut with a loud bang. Zhao Fu pulled off the bandages on Zhao's body and started to ravage her. The sky gradually darkened, and a large, round moon appeared in the deep blue sky, lighting up the night sky. Zhao Fu hugged Shao and Su and silently enjoyed the aftertaste of passion. Zhao's face was red, and she felt quite resistant. but she could not help but lean against Zhao Fu's chest. Thinking about how she had been like a slut just like the other women, Sir Shao felt quite ashamed. Are the rumors about the corpse pall world true? Did the 7 of you obtain the keys to the underworld treasure trove? After a while, Zhao Fu looked at Sir Shao in his embrace and asked. Before Sir Shao could speak, Sir Su smiled and said, Husband, it's true. However, we opened the treasure trove long ago, which is why the 7 of us destroyed the other factions so quickly and unified the continent. Hearing this, Zhao Fu felt quite disappointed because he was quite interested in the underworld treasure trove. However, they had already opened the treasure trove. Seeing Zhao Fu's disappointed expression, Sir Su kissed Zhao Fu on the cheek and smiled as she said, Husband, even though we've opened the treasure trove and used it, the 7 keys are still very useful. Although we've opened the treasure trove and used it, the 7 keys are still very useful. They can open an underworld historical remnant. However, the historical remnant is in the underworld, but we can't go there, so we haven't used the keys. I heard that there are even rarer treasures there. A smile appeared on Zhao Fu's face as he hugged Sir Su and asked, Is that so? Tell me the specifics. Sir Shao looked at Zhao Fu hugging Sir Su and looking at how much he doted on her. Being ignored, she felt quite disappointed and wronged. This fellow had just taken her body, yet he was treating her so coldly. However, it was also because she had not grasped this opportunity. It had been Zhao Fu who had asked her, but Sir Su had asked first. Zhao Fu now knew about the origins of the treasure trove. Back when it had gone through the trial to become a legatee, they had obtained this key. That treasure trove was bound to the corpse pall world and contained countless treasures and spirit items. As for the underworld historical remnant, Zhao Fu did not know much about it for now. He only gave them an address and told them that they could only open it with 7 keys and that they had to be from the death race and have massive amounts of fate. The historical remnant had something that could allow the corpse pall race to rise in the heaven awakened world. Hearing this, Zhao Fu felt quite interested because Zhao Fu had a way to go to the underworld, which was the underworld royal seals. Anyone with 100 underworld royal seals would be able to open the underworld door. It was just that Zhao Fu did not have any reason to go to the underworld, so he had not gone before. Now he could go to the underworld to take a look. Chapter 1394. This time, Zhao Fu obtained 45 billion people and 80,000 cities. Because of the heavenly domain boundary, most of the people and cities had not been lost. Now, the Qin Kingdom had 370 billion people, which was a shocking number. It also had 520,000 cities, but it was a pity that city lord seals could not be used. Otherwise, 520,000 city lords would be enough to sweep through everything. After leaving behind a portion of the soldiers to continue clearing out the corpse pall world and obtaining full control, Zhao Fu led his army back to the Qin Kingdom. Zhao Fu obtained the 7 keys. These keys were quite strange. They were 30 centimeters long and were gray. They seemed to be made of iron, and there were divine beasts engraved on them. A divine dragon, a black tortoise, a vermilion bird, a white tiger, a qilin, a taotai, and a qiongqi. Zhao Fu did not know what they meant, and, after returning to the Qin Kingdom, he wanted to open up a passageway to the underworld and explore this historical remnant. However, a piece of infuriating news spread out. The Aeolian Empire announced that the half-beast world, grassy world, and elf world belonged to the Aeolian Empire. Because this involved 2 empires and 1 world, the Aeolian Empire was more courteous and only told them to leave. They did not tell them to scram like before and were incredibly arrogant and domineering. Of the 3 half-beast worlds, the Qin Kingdom occupied 4, the Fishman world occupied 1, and the Devil Horn Empire occupied the rest. Moreover, the Qin Empire and Devil Horn Empire were the 2 most powerful factions here, and the Aeolian Empire was quite wary of these 2 factions. After destroying these 2 empires, the Aeolian Empire would definitely suffer heavy losses. Moreover, the Aeolian Empire had enemies, so it could not mobilize all of its forces here. However, as a royal kingdom in the inner regions, They had the confidence and power to directly pressure the Devil Horn Empire and Qin Empire to leave, in order to avoid unnecessary battles and losses. The three worlds did not have any people or cities at all, and they were like three empty shells. Because there were often chaos, no one moved their people or cities over. Some of the people of the three worlds had escaped to other worlds, some had been absorbed by the Qin Empire, and some had submitted to the Devil Horn Empire. However, even though the three worlds had become empty shells, conquering them would still bring a large amount of fate. However, the Aeolian Empire took them without any intention of negotiating. It did not place the two empires in its eyes at all and domineeringly declared them to be its. This was the most infuriating thing. It was not the Qin Kingdom side that was angry, but the Qin side was furious. The Devil Empire was the most. The Devil Horn Empire had conquered the most continents and had suffered the greatest losses. This was especially so now that Great Qin had conquered the Corpse Paul world. It now had 5 worlds, while the Devil Horn Empire only had 3. If it lost so many continents, the Devil Horn Empire would be evidently weaker than Great Qin. Right now, the crux of the matter was not whether or not they could give it to him, but that the other party was determined to obtain it. Against a kingdom from the inner regions, neither of the two empires was a match for it. Yao Ming tried to contact the outer domain royal kingdoms that supported the Devil Horn Empire, but none of them supported. After all, it would be very difficult for them to defend against an inner domain royal kingdom, so there was no need for them to pay such a heavy price for someone else. Zhao Fu tried to contact the various factions, but the outcome was the same. No one was willing to help, and Zhao Fu sent this news to the inner domains, hoping that some factions hostile to the Aeolian Empire would do something. However, the outcome was disappointing. Even though they already knew about this, they did not do anything. As expected, they could not rely on anyone. The Aeolian Empire gave them 3 days. Within these 3 days, the people of the 3 worlds had to evacuate, or else the Aeolian Empire would attack. Seeing that they could not protect so many continents, Yao Ming could only hope for some benefits, such as having the Aeolian Empire attack the Qin Empire or helping the Devil Horn Empire conquer another world. However, the Aeolian Empire bluntly refused and did not give the Devil Horn Empire any face. They were a royal kingdom from the inner domains and did not place the Devil Horn Empire in their eyes at all. How could they agree to the Devil Horn Empire's request? This was the attitude of the Aeolian Empire. If they did not give them what they wanted, they would take them by force and not try to negotiate with them. This caused Yao Ming to explode in anger. He had rarely suffered such humiliation. If it was an ordinary world, he would have long since attacked at all costs. However, in the end, the Devil Horn Empire still retreated because it was not as powerful as the Aeolian Empire. They could not go all out against it. The Qin Empire was the same, and they could only give up on 4 continents. Fortunately, the 4 continents were just empty shells, so their losses were not too great. Zhao Fu felt quite angry about this. It had not been easy for him to obtain the continents, and he was about to go. However, he was not as strong as the Devil Horn Empire, so he could only take a step back and gather his strength before taking revenge. At the same time, Zhao Fu felt a massive pressure because the Aeolian Empire's goal could not be any more obvious. The charmed Devil World, the Half-Beast World, the Grassy World, and the Elf World were now 4 worlds. Obtaining 4 worlds so easily made others feel jealous. The Aeolian Empire was now the strongest in this world, and its territory was ranked 2nd. Adding on the Wind Spirit World, which was still within the barrier, it had 5 worlds, which was the same as the Qin Empire. The Aeolian Empire would definitely act against the Qin Empire, so Zhao Fu had to quickly prepare a way to deal with the Aeolian Empire. Otherwise, it was possible that the Qin Empire would perish at the Aeolian Empire's hands. Now, Zhao Fu had 2 choices. The first was to continue to obtain points in the outer world to deal with the Aeolian Empire, or the second was to obtain precious treasures and items from the underworld historical remnant. Zhao Fu thought about it and decided that he did not need to personally oversee the outer world, so he left it to Bai Shihan and the others to go out and clear out insects every day. They would be able to obtain large amounts of points, and he would have some free time to go to the underworld. After making this decision, Zhao Fu did not hesitate and called over the black and white impermanences. They were from the underworld, and bringing them would save him a lot of trouble. The first thing to do was to open the underworld gate. Zhao Fu went to the place where the ghost soldiers were created. This place had become a special treasure ground and was connected to the underworld. Large amounts of underworld yin-chi flowed out from here, and it was the most suitable place to open the underworld gate. Zhao Fu did not know what he would encounter, so he carefully prepared various things. The black and white impermanences were quite happy to be able to return to the underworld. They came from the underworld and had family and friends in the underworld, so they naturally missed the underworld greatly. They had come to the Qin Empire during the 10,000 Ghost Festival and had been there for 7 or 8 years. Chapter 1395. Zhao Fu stretched out a hand, and a formless energy grabbed the 100 underworld royal seals, which floated around Zhao Fu. Zhao Fu squatted down and pressed his hand against the ground, causing the 100 underworld royal seals to turn into rays of light and shoot into the ground. Immediately, the heavens and earth darkened as the weather changed. Not only did the yin-chi from the converted area quickly gather here, but the yin-chi from other places also madly flowed over, covering the sky. One was incredibly complex and profound. A cold and eerie magic formation appeared beneath Zhao Fu's feet. It was 100 meters wide and gave off waves of gray light. The massive amounts of yin-chi in the surroundings started to spin around the magic formation, forming a massive vortex of yin-chi. Not only did it give off a massive sound, but it also gave off an incredibly eerie power, causing people to feel a chill. Zhao Fu pressed his hand against the ground and had a serious expression as he sent his 6 paths of reincarnation power into the magic formation and lightly cried out, "Underworld gates, open!" Boom! A massive explosion sounded out as the 100-meter-wide magic formation sucked in all of the surrounding yin-chi and gave off an intense light as it started to spin. A massive wave of yin-chi spread out and seeped into the depths of the ground. A stone gate and 2 stone statues that looked like tigers slowly rose up from the ground, and an ancient and cold aura spread out like a flood. Finally, the stone door appeared before Zhao Fu's eyes. The stone door was 12 meters tall and 3 meters wide, and there were countless monsters carved on it. They had savage gazes and bared fangs, and their movements seemed like they were fighting or hunting. They were incredibly lifelike and gave off a powerful aura. Beside the stone gate were 2 statues that looked like tigers. They were 3 meters tall and had a pair of wings on their backs. The carvings were incredibly detailed, and they looked incredibly lifelike and ferocious, as if they were real tigers. The stone tigers were yin beasts, and in some ancient records, there were records of tigers being auspicious beasts. When a tiger is drawn on a gate, ghosts won't dare to enter. Tigers are young creatures, the leader of all beasts. They can crush sharp objects and devour ghosts. Today, when a person encounters evil, he roasts the tiger's skin and drinks it. Striking its claws can also ward off evil. Therefore, there were tiger-shaped stone carvings in front of ancient tombs to ward off evil and protect the tomb owner from being devoured by evil spirits after death. Now that the underworld gate, or rather, the ghost gate, had been summoned, as long as one opened the stone gate, one would be able to enter the underworld. Moreover, one could enter at any time in the future without having to summon it again. White impermanence and black impermanence smiled happily. They walked over, and each held onto one of Zhao Fu's arms. Both of them were nourished by Zhao Fu and became more mature and attractive than before. White impermanence, or by Xiaoxi, shyly called out, "Husband, if there's time, can we return to our family to take a look?" Next to him, black impermanence, Hey Xiaojia, smiled and said, "Husband, it's not a big deal. I still have a few good sisters in my family. When you go, I'll ask them to serve you well. With your charm, they should like you very much." Hearing this, Zhao Fu thought for a moment and felt that it was not a big problem, so he smiled and nodded in agreement. Following this, Zhao Fu pushed open the stone doors and walked in with the black and white impermanences, the two beauties. On the other side, the Devil Horn Empire was doing its best to increase its strength. He understood that the Aeolian Empire would definitely make a move against the Devil Horn Empire in the future, and Yao Ming wanted to have the power to protect himself. Now that he had given away all of his continents, he only had 3 worlds left, which was 2 worlds behind Qin. As such, he made up his mind to attack another world. After hearing about this, Qin did not do anything. After all, with the threat of the Aeolian Empire, Qin had to continuously increase his strength. If they continued to fight against the Devil Horn Empire, the one to benefit would be the Aeolian Empire. Moreover, the Aeolian Empire had taken over the Half-Beast World and Half-Beast World, separating the Devil Horn Empire from Qin. Even if Qin wanted to directly attack the Devil Horn Empire, it would not be possible. The Devil Horn Empire attacked the world next to the Rock Spirit World. Because the world below belonged to the Aeolian Empire and the world above had signed a contract, the Devil Horn Empire could only develop from both sides. Because the Aeolian Empire was on the right side, the Devil Horn Empire did not want to face them, so they could only develop from the left side. That world was a water race world, and there lived a type of fishmen. These fishmen had fish heads and human bodies, and even though they were ugly, their battle strength was not weak. They could also live on land and water. The Devil Horn Army had prepared countless large ships to enter the Fishman world. Because the Fishman world lived in the water, the Devil Horn Army was at a disadvantage. However, Yao Ming had long since prepared a way to deal with this. He had originally planned to use this move against the Fishman world, but because of the Aeolian Empire, he could only use it against the Fishman world. The fishmen were unable to build a defensive wall and gathered together to fight to the death with the Devil Horn Empire. After all, they could not build defensive walls underwater, and if they gathered together, it would be even more disadvantageous, as they would all be destroyed by the Devil Horn Empire. They wanted to use the advantage of living in the water to defend against the Devil Horn Empire's invasion. Countless ships sailed into the Fishman world, and a large number of fishmen hid underwater, giving cold smiles. The water was their home ground, and they did not fear the Devil Horn Army. Moreover, the Devil Horn Empire's most powerful Devil Beast army could not fight underwater. The Fishman world's advantage was not small. Swish, 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 sharp reef arrows shot out from the water, containing immense force as they shot towards the Devil Horn soldiers on the ships. Some fishmen rushed at the Devil Horn Army's ships, wanting to destroy them and cause countless Devil Horn soldiers to fall into the water. Facing the arrows, the Devil Horn Army had long since been prepared. They activated the defensive barriers on the ships and blocked the countless arrows. Facing the countless fishmen charging at them, the Devil Horn soldiers threw down red crystals. As the blue crystals fell into the water, they immediately dissolved. The water was quickly dyed red, and the red color quickly spread. As soon as the fishmen entered the red water, they were given a big fright and felt immense pain in their heads. The red crystals were a type of poison called deep-sea blood, and it was a poison used to kill underwater creatures. It was very easy to fuse with the water, and the poison quickly spread. The fishmen who entered the red water violently struggled in the water and howled as blood flowed out of their 7 orifices. They then died, and their corpses floated to the surface. The other fishmen's expressions fell, and they hurriedly retreated. Boom, boom, boom. Massive sounds sounded out as harpoons shot out from the bow of the ships. These harpoons gave off terrifying power as they shot into the water, leaving behind massive ripples. Chapter 1396. Roar, roar. Huge creatures appeared in the water. There was a 100-meter-long swordfish, a huge shark, an octopus the size of a small mountain, a 100-meter-long sea snake, and an incomparably huge sea turtle. These aquatic beasts appeared from the side, giving off massive auras that spread out like a ferocious flood, causing countless fishmen to look terrified. That's right. These aquatic beasts were nurtured by the Devil Horn Empire and not the Fishman's aquatic beasts. The aquatic beasts attacked from the side, and the swordfish quickly shot out like a silver ray of light. Countless fishmen's bodies were cut open, and a massive shark rushed over and bit down, tearing apart the fishmen's corpses. The massive sea snake rushed into the midst of the fishmen and opened its massive mouth, devouring fishmen one by one. The massive octopus stretched out countless tentacles and sent countless fishmen flying. The fishman world had 8 continents, and Yao Ming split into 8 armies to attack. He mainly used aquatic beasts, deep-sea blood, and forks to slaughter the fishmen. The devil beasts wore water pearls and could dive into the water, and the devil horn soldiers could also fight in the water. The Devil Horn Empire's attacks were incredibly ferocious and comprehensive, and they quickly took down the Fishman world. However, the Fishmen were incredibly savage and would not submit so easily. They resisted intensely and caused some losses to the Devil Horn Empire. This made Yao Ming even more savage, and he vented the anger he had received from the Aeolian Empire into the Fishman world. He gave the order to eat those who resisted. The Devil Horn soldiers who had obtained the blood-forbidden dragon veins power did not have any moral restraints, and some even ate their loved ones to obtain even more powerful forbidden power. As such, this scene occurred. The fishmen were pounced on by the red-eyed Devil Horn soldiers. The Devil Horn soldiers opened their teeth and bit at the fishmen's bodies, tearing off the fishmen's flesh and devouring it. The fish scale people continuously struggled and howled. Their flesh was a bloody mess, and they looked incredibly wretched. They had never thought that the Devil Horn Empire would be so ferocious. In order to take the lead, Yao Ming grabbed a female infant and ate her. Yao Ming's mouth was filled with blood, and the female infant's flesh was incredibly tender. Yao Ming felt quite surprised. The fishmen tasted quite good, and it was like eating fish. After eating the baby girl, Yao Ming turned his gaze to a fishman woman. She was dressed quite seductively, and her skin was quite white and tender. It was a pity that she had a fish head, making people feel uninterested in her. Yao Ming did not mind. In the beginning, the devil race had been transformed from wild beasts. Yao Ming pressed her to the ground and started to ravage her. The fishwoman cooperated, thinking that she would be able to live. However, Yao Ming directly bit down on her body and tore off a mouthful of her flesh and ate it. The woman cried out in pain and begged Yao Ming. However, Yao Ming seemed as if he hadn't hurt her at all. He ravaged the mermaid as he ate her flesh, and the scene was extremely savage and perverted. After a while, the mermaid was already dead. Her body had been eaten beyond recognition, and some parts of her body were even more delicious, making Yao Ming reminisce a bit. Cities were littered with devoured corpses, and the remaining fishmen looked terrified. No matter how ferocious the fishmen were, under the Devil Horn Empire's bloody and perverted suppression, they could only submit. In the end, Yao Ming successfully conquered the fishman world, causing the Devil Horn Empire to have 4 worlds and closing the gap between it and Qin. Roar, 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 roar. 6 roars sounded out from the depths of the underworld, containing the underworld's most terrifying and ultimate power. They sounded throughout the entire underworld, causing the heavens and earth to dim and clouds to swirl. Inchi became chaotic, and everyone's expressions fell. This was because these were the underworld's most terrifying things. The 6 Paths Demon Images roars. Just what is going on? How could the 6 Paths Demon Images react so strongly? Moreover, the 6 Paths Demon Images roars were filled with fury, as if they wanted to tear someone to pieces and never be able to reincarnate. Who was seeking death and dared to anger the underworld sovereign? Most celestials would not purposely anger the underworld sovereign. However, from the roars, it was most likely not a good thing. Just as everyone in the underworld guessed what was going on, boom, a shocking explosion sounded out as if the sky was going to split apart. Everyone's expressions fell because they found that the 6 Paths Demon Images had broken through the 6 Paths of Reincarnation's restrictions and wanted to come to the underworld's upper level. Heavens! Just who is it to make the six paths demon images so angry? I'm quite curious as well. I've lived in the underworld for so long, but this is the first time I've seen the six paths demon images act like this. That person is definitely dead. Even the underworld sovereign dares to offend him. He's simply suicidal. As everyone muttered to themselves in shock, they were once again shocked because they sensed an extremely terrifying aura ferociously rushing out from the underworld. Nothing could stop it. The underworld's heavens and earth were in chaos. The sun and moon were dim, and dark clouds quickly gathered. An eerie wind blew, and many ghosts madly roared. Countless people were immersed in that terrifying aura, and they felt terror from their souls. The six paths demon images are willing to use any means necessary to kill that person. Sensing this terrifying aura, countless people looked incredibly shocked. At the same time, they felt even more curious about who that person was. Could it be an underworld celestial? Boom! Before anyone could react, they felt an immense pressure coming from the sky. Countless people's bloodlines suddenly turned ice cold. This was submission. Everyone looked up at the sky. They saw an enormous moon-like star giving off a cold light that covered the underworld. It gave off a boundless might as it slowly descended into the sky. This star was like a ghost emperor and gave off a supreme emperor's intent, causing the chaotic underworld to calm down. The eerie wind stopped, and the countless berserk ghosts calmed down. They were filled with respect and were willing to submit as they looked up at that star. Nether Emperor's star. Everyone felt even more curious. Why the Death Race's supreme Emperor star appeared. Moreover, this supreme Emperor star was not ordinary at all, and its power surpassed what ordinary people could imagine. Just as Zhao Fu entered the underworld, he suddenly heard 6 massive roars. Only then did he realize that he had forgotten something important, which was that he had great enmity with the six paths demon images. They all knew how he had tortured their clones and their main bodies. Following this, he sensed a massive aura rushing towards him, and Zhao Fu fell into terror like a small boat in the middle of an ocean. Chapter 1397. The Nether Emperor Star was the supreme Emperor Star of the Death Race, and it was like adding wings to a tiger in the underworld. With all sorts of Yin-Shi and massive amounts of fate, its power was raised to the extreme, and it had the power to suppress the heavens and earth and make all ghosts submit. The heavens and earth calmed down, and the Berserk Six Paths demon images seemed to be suppressed by some sort of power. There were no more auras, and the Nether Emperor Star disappeared. Everyone came back to their senses and thought about what had just happened. They understood that the Six Paths demon images wanted to kill the owner of the Nether Emperor Star. And that owner of the Nether Emperor Star was incredibly terrifying and had directly released a heaven-calming aura. What was even more noteworthy was the Nether Emperor Star. No one had seen it before, and it was the first time they had seen it. After all, they were all quite familiar with the auras that the owners of the Underworld Emperor Stars gave off. Moreover, the aura that this Nether Emperor Star gave off was not pure Underworld aura, but from the Heaven Awakened world. It was most likely that some terrifying figure from the Heaven Awakened world had come to the Underworld. Thinking about that, the various factions were naturally quite interested in that person. After all, that Nether Emperor Star was simply too terrifying, and something had most likely happened between him and the Six Paths demon images, or else they would not be so furious. As such, the various factions sent out spies to investigate just who had come to the Underworld, and many of the Underworld's top-tier factions were shocked. Zhao Fu did not know about any of this, and seeing that the world had calmed down and the Six Paths demon image's aura had disappeared, he let out a sigh of relief and started to look around the Underworld. The Underworld was filled with an eerie coldness. The ground was quite black, and the light was quite dim. There was an eerie fog in some places, and the sun in the sky was a gray-white color. Anyone who was within the Underworld would feel Yin-Chi at all times, causing their hairs to stand on end. "Husband, you've caused such a ruckus right after coming to the Underworld. Looks like we'll have to be careful," He Xiaojie said coquettishly. Hearing this, Zhao Fu nodded, but this was not something he could control. The six paths demon image's clones were sealed within his body, and after coming to the underworld, they had become incredibly excited. The six paths demon image's main bodies immediately discovered that Zhao Fu had come to the underworld. This was a complete provocation. In the Heaven Awakened world, when Zhao Fu treated his clone like this, they could not do anything and could only think of a way to destroy that person. However, that person dared to come to the underworld, making the six paths demon images furious. Husband, this is the land of water, and there's still a long way to go before we reach the ruins. Looks like we'll have to spend some time there. Bai Xiaoxi looked around and said to Zhao Fu, even though the underworld was just a world and there were no other worlds within it, it was still incredibly big and could be said to be boundless. The underworld gate could only allow one to enter the underworld, but it could not teleport one to wherever one wanted. Following this, the three of them flew toward the direction because there was most likely a ghost city there. They could use the ghost city's teleportation channel to go there, which was much faster than flying. The Waterland was in the outer domain of the underworld, and the ruins were at the center of the underworld, which was the domain. The underworld was split into three regions like the Heaven Awakened world. The outermost region was called the outer domain, the middle region was called the inner domain, and the core region was called the domain. Moreover, this historical remnant was at the center of the underworld, so it definitely would not be simple. A historical remnant in such a place would have to be incredibly powerful to exist, and Zhao Fu felt quite excited. In order to avoid trouble, Zhao Fu and the others also put on black cloaks. After coming to the ghost city, Zhao Fu saw all sorts of people from the death race. For example, there were ghouls with crimson faces and two black horns on their heads. There were also ghouls who wore battle armor and wielded weapons, but had no heads. There were also ghouls who wore white clothes and had a huge eye on their foreheads. The underworld was the holy land of the death race, and almost everyone here was from the death race. Apart from them, there were no other races. Zhao Fu did not mind too much and went through the teleportation channel to head to the next city. Some of the cities here were connected and some were not, as they belonged to different factions. The underworld definitely had countless factions, big and small, that divided up the underworld's territory. Zhao Fu remembered that with the underworld royal seal, he would be able to obtain territory in the underworld, which was acknowledged by the underworld's fate. However, Zhao Fu was here to explore the ruins, so he did not have time to think about such things. After going through the teleportation channel a few times, it could not be used anymore, so the three of them could only fly to the next faction. After traveling for an entire day, the three of them stopped to rest. It was now nighttime, and the moon in the underworld was silver white and looked quite beautiful. Suddenly, the sound of hurried hooves could be heard as a carriage quickly sped on the ground. The coachman looked terrified as he drove the horse, and there was a large group of soldiers chasing after the carriage. The soldiers all looked quite murderous, and it seemed that they were chasing after the carriage. Bang! A muffled sound rang out as the rapidly galloping carriage crashed into a large boulder, causing the wheels to shatter and the carriage to lose its balance. Even though the horses continued to pull the carriage, its speed had clearly decreased, allowing the soldiers behind it to catch up. A few people walked out of the carriage. They were four beautiful and mature women. One was tall and slim and gave off a cold aura. One was like a lady and was hugging a baby boy. One gave off a gentle aura and was hugging a 2-year-old boy, and one had a fiery figure. The cold-looking woman said angrily, "You've already obtained the Nether Ghost City. Why don't you let off our children and widows?" The soldier in the lead coldly laughed. "Our Lord wants you to die, so you must die. Seeing how beautiful you are, if you let us play with you, we'll give you a quick death." The dozen or so soldiers surrounding the carriage looked at the women with lecherous eyes and also laughed loudly. The cold-looking woman was infuriated and drew a sword as she started a fight with the soldiers, and the other women were forced to join in. None of the soldiers were weak, and they all had stage 3 cultivation, adding on their advantage in numbers. The 4 women were at a great disadvantage, and after a few exchanges, the gentle-looking woman hugging the baby boy was captured first. Husband, are you not going to interfere? Bai Xiaoxi leaned on Zhao Fu's shoulder as she looked at the scene ahead and asked Zhao Fu. Zhao Fu did not plan on interfering, as he was mainly here to explore the historical remnant and not to make trouble. What was happening right now was quite troublesome, so Zhao Fu naturally did not want to get involved. Of course, if they dared to take the initiative to offend him, Zhao Fu would not hold back. Chapter 1398. Zhao Fu lightly laughed and said, "Do whatever you want. If you want to interfere, then go. If you don't want to, then stay here." Hey, Xiaojia smiled and nodded before continuing to watch the battle. By now, the driver had been killed and was lying in a pool of blood. The beautiful women had also been subdued because they had threatened the gentle-looking woman they had captured first to force the other women to submit. The gentle-looking woman cried and told the other women to ignore her and quickly escape, but the three women still put down their weapons. Looking at the four beautiful women, the other soldiers lewdly laughed and took off their clothes, planning to play with the four beautiful women. The cold-looking woman was forced to kneel by two soldiers and looked furious. Facing the soldiers' lewd gazes, she did not panic and thought about how to escape. At that moment, some soldiers noticed Zhao Fu and the others, and one of them said in shock, "Boss Gio, look at those two black and white impermanences. They're so beautiful, and their figures are so great. If I could play with them just once, I'd be willing to die." Hearing this, the other soldiers looked over and saw the two mature and alluring black and white impermanences. They felt quite shocked, and their blood sped up. Now that they were in the wilderness, Zhao Fu and the others did not wear their cloaks. Hearing the soldiers' words, He Xiaojia lightly laughed and said, "Husband, they've come to us. Now that they've come to us, what do you think we should do?" Zhao Fu calmly said, "Then we'll just kill them all." He Xiaojia smiled and stood up and walked towards the group of soldiers. Bai Xiaoxi followed behind her and walked towards the group of soldiers. Seeing the two black and white impermanences walk over, the soldiers looked at each other and gave lewd smiles. The soldier in the lead pointed at the two black and white impermanences and said, "We suspect that you two are traitors of Nether Ghost City. You'd best behave yourselves." He Xiaojia smiled and grabbed out with her hand, causing the soldier's body to be picked up by a formless energy. She then twisted her hand, causing the soldier's head to turn 180 degrees. The other soldiers were given a big fright and found that He Xiaojia and Bai Xiaoxi had stage 9 cultivation. They were so frightened that they immediately knelt and begged for mercy, but He Xiaojia still killed them all. The cold-looking woman and the three other women bowed to the black and white impermanences and said gratefully, "Thank you for saving us." He Xiaojia lightly laughed as she said, "Now that I've saved you, you have to repay me properly. Come with me." The women did not understand what He Xiaojia meant, but they still followed her to where Zhao Fu was. Looking at the incredibly handsome and extraordinary Zhao Fu, they felt quite shocked. "Take off your clothes and serve our husband." He Xiaojia looked at the four women with her beautiful eyes and smiled as she said. This caused the four women's expressions to freeze. They had never thought that He Xiaojia would ask them to repay them like this. They naturally refused, and the gentle-looking woman said resolutely, "I'm sorry. Hey Chen, we can't, and we, and we, T." The woman in sexy clothes had a fiery personality and said angrily and coldly, "You're not a group of good people either. You're just like those villains and want us to use our bodies to repay you. You should just kill me." He Xiaojia maintained her smile and looked at the two children with a threatening gaze. The virtuous-looking woman understood what she meant, and looking at the sleeping baby in her arms, she hesitated for a moment before making a decision and taking off her clothes. The resolute woman looked at the sleeping boy and gritted her teeth, took off her clothes, and said coldly to Zhao Fu, "We can serve you, but you have to spare the other two." The cold-looking woman took off her clothes and revealed her body to Zhao Fu as she said, "I can also serve you, but I have a condition." The seductively dressed woman looked quite confused and called out, "Big sis." The cold-looking woman turned her head and signaled for her to take off her clothes as well. The The seductively dressed woman could only angrily take off her clothes and glared at Zhao Fu. Zhao Fu looked at the cold-looking woman's body and smiled as he asked, "What condition is that?" The cold-looking woman's expression became slightly flirtatious as she went up and sat on Zhao Fu's body and wrapped her arms around Zhao Fu's neck as she smiled and said, "We'll talk after you enjoy our bodies." As soon as Zhao Fu thought about it, he started to ravage her, and after going at it for a while, after an intense round, the women's faces became red as they powerlessly lay on the ground. The four women had never thought that not only was Zhao Fu extraordinarily handsome, but he was also incredibly pleasurable. It was as if he was no longer in this world. The seductively dressed woman shamelessly turned her body to the side because out of the four women, she was the most licentious. She was still thinking about how she had done it with Zhao Fu and affectionately called Zhao Fu husband and husband. Zhao Fu knew the four women's names. The cold-looking woman was called Yu Qin, the seductively dressed woman was called Yin Yin, the virtuous woman was called Qing Yuan, and the gentle-looking woman was called Li Ya. "You want to borrow my power to take revenge for you, right?" Zhao Fu asked as he hugged the red-faced, cold-looking woman, Yu Qin. Zhao Fu had already guessed her goal, or else she would not have taken the initiative to give up her body. Yu Qin lay in Zhao Fu's embrace and lightly hugged Zhao Fu as she smiled and replied, "With your power, it should be quite easy to resolve this matter. With your strength, it should be very easy to solve this problem. As long as you can agree, our bodies will be yours from now on. We'll even let you enjoy our bodies first. You can see our sincerity." Leaning against Zhao Fu's other side, He Xiaojia disdainfully laughed as she said, "Even if you don't say anything, your bodies belong to my husband. Moreover, after doing it with my husband, would you still leave after tasting it?" These words caused Yu Qin's expression to become cold, but she could only endure it. She understood that she was not a match for He Xiaojia, and what He Xiaojia said was not wrong. Even though she did not want to admit it, doing it with Zhao Fu was hundreds of times more enjoyable than doing it with her deceased husband. Beside her, Bai Xiaoxi said, "Husband, I think you should agree. Don't you want to develop a faction in the underworld? It can provide you with a large amount of resources, people, and soldiers, and it's a hidden force that ordinary people don't know about. At critical times, it can be of great use." Hearing this, Zhao Fu felt quite tempted. Moreover, this place was not very far from the Heaven Awakened World's teleportation point. Yu Qin did not quite understand Bai Xiaoxi's words and felt quite curious about Zhao Fu's identity. After all, Zhao Fu's identity was incredibly prestigious, and just his aura alone could make people submit. Chapter 1399. Zhao Fu thought about it for a while before agreeing and asking about what had happened. The Nether Ghost City was a faction that controlled 100 nearby cities, but someone had rebelled and killed the Nether Ghost City's city lord, who was the husband of Yu Qin and the other women. By now, that person had most likely already taken control of the Nether Ghost City. After all, that person was called Gui Yi, and he had been the second in command of the Nether Ghost City. He had great authority and would naturally be able to easily control the Nether Ghost City. However, there were most likely many people who supported the original Nether Ghost City lord, and not all of them had rebelled. Zhao Fu felt that this matter would be quite easy to resolve. Following this, Zhao Fu started to move and planned to kill Gui Yi. Gui Yi only had Earth Realm cultivation, and even though he was quite powerful in the outer domains of the underworld, in Zhao Fu's eyes, he was not worth mentioning. Yu Qin and the others were responsible for contacting the original city lord supporters and having them gather their forces to attack Gui Yi's forces. Now that Gui Yi had just seized power, his faction was in chaos, so it would be easy for him to act. Within the city hall, a middle-aged man with small eyes and a sharp and cold gaze. He was Gui Yi, and he was looking through the reports that had been sent to him. He now controlled 60% of the Nether Ghost City's factions, and he had sent people to subdue the remaining factions. The remaining people remained neutral because they understood that they were not a match for Gui Yi. Once Gui Yi destroyed the factions, they would submit. Guei did not show any mercy to those who were loyal to the previous city lord and sent out soldiers to get rid of them, not letting a single one of them off. If nothing out of the ordinary happened, he would definitely win this time and become the new city lord of Netherghost City. He would not be as mediocre as the previous city lord, and he would not like peace and quiet. He would properly take care of Netherghost City and make it stronger before conquering others and establishing a ghost kingdom that belonged to him and his family. Lord Husband, you've been busy for an entire day. Aren't you going to rest? A voluptuous and flirtatious middle-aged woman walked in with a bowl of tonics and said caringly. This beautiful woman was Guei Ye's wife, and she was called Lu Ye. She was Guei Ye's only wife, and Guei Ye was not very interested in women. He was completely focused on developing his faction and working hard for his ambitions. Guei Ye continued to look at the document in his hand and replied without raising his head, "The forces are in chaos right now, and there are still people resisting. The hearts of the commoners are still unsettled, so I can't rest now." Lu Ye's eyes were filled with resentment towards Guei Ye's cold attitude. In the 7 or 8 years since Guei Ye had married her, he had always treated her so coldly. No matter how much she cared and loved him, it was useless. Furthermore, he had only touched her once on the night of their wedding. After that, he had never touched her again. Lu Ye had very high desires in this area, but for the sake of Guei Ye, she could only endure it and be his wife, supporting him in building his empire. As such, Lu Ye thought about it. Her man had just become the city lord of Netherghost City, so it was understandable that he had a lot of things to do. In the future, she would be the Netherghost City Lord's wife and the woman with the most power in Netherghost City. Anyone who saw her would have to treat her with respect and do their best to curry favor with her. In the end, it would be great if Guei Ye could dote on her. However, looking at how cold Guei Ye was, Lu Ye sometimes wanted to find a man to comfort her. However, as Guei Ye's only wife, almost no one dared to touch her. After becoming the Netherghost City Lord's wife, it was likely that even fewer people would dare to touch her. Lu Ye could only sigh and dejectedly hand over the tonics and leave the room. She planned to return to her residence, but she suddenly bumped into a man in a corner. Although this man was wearing a cloak from the side of his face, especially under the moonlight, he looked especially handsome. Under that cloak, there should be a peerless beauty, and his body had an even more enchanting temperament. Sensing that aura, all of Lu Ye's suppressed emotions and desires burst forth. Before the man could react, Lu Ye leapt into his embrace and hugged him before madly kissing him. Under the beautiful moonlight, the two of them intensely did it in the corner. Lu Ye had never thought that the man would be able to give her such bliss, and it was the first time she had experienced it. She also went mad and lost herself within it. Afterwards, Lu Ye's face was red, and she was powerlessly placed in a room by the man. After the man left, Lu Ye fell into a deep sleep with a blissful smile on her face. In the final moment of her sleep, she decided that she would run away with that man and not want anything else. While she was unconscious, she heard a few loud rumbling sounds, and then it seemed to become chaotic. The sounds also became noisy, but Lu Ye was simply too tired and still fell asleep. The gray-white sun rose from the east, giving off gentle white light that covered the land. The night faded and the world gradually woke up. A new day had arrived, and Lu Ye slowly opened her eyes. Seeing that there was no one by her bed and that there was no note left, Lu Ye looked quite disappointed. Thinking back to the craziness from last night and the man who had comforted her, Lu Ye's eyes became slightly moist. She did not know who he was, and she would never be able to see him again. She could only bury this night in her heart as her most beautiful memory, unable to tell anyone. She was still the Netherghost City Lord's wife, Guei Ye's good wife. Lu Ye lightly pushed open the door and saw that it was a complete mess. Lu Ye felt quite confused and did not understand what had happened. She walked out of the room and saw that the guard outside was someone she did not recognize, making her feel even more confused. A female attendant carrying a wooden basin walked over. Lu Ye knew this female attendant, so she stopped her and asked, did something happen in the city lord's residence? The female attendant smiled and said, Madam, I'm not too sure either. Actually, I'm not too sure either. The new mayor wants you to wash up and head over. Hearing this, Liu Ye felt even more confused. Who was the new city lord? Wasn't it her husband, Guei? Liu Ye's mind was in a mess, but she still listened to the female attendant. After washing up, she came to the guest hall, and what caused her expression to change was that she saw the previous city lord's wife. Their faces were red, and from the auras they gave off, it seemed that they had just done it. The person sitting at the very top was the man she had been having an affair with last night. He's the new city lord. What about her husband? Liu Ye has a bad feeling about this. Zhao Fu looked at her and gave a trace of a smile. Guei is already dead, so you're mine now. Nether Ghost City is under my control, so don't worry, I'll take good care of you. Liu Ye sighed. It was just as she had expected. Thinking about Guei, Liu Ye looked quite sorrowful and nodded at Zhao Fu. Chapter 1400. 10 or so days later, Zhao Fu and the black and white impermanences finally arrived at the inner domain of the underworld, but they were once again blocked by a large forbidden area. This forbidden area was called the Ghost God Forbidden Area. It was said that a powerful ghost god had died here, causing many ghost god creatures to exist here. These ghost god creatures had strange abilities and were incredibly powerful. They were terrifying creatures that were a combination of gods and ghosts, and their bodies contained ghost god power. Their monster grades far surpassed ordinary ghosts, and anyone who trespassed would definitely be attacked. The black and white impermanences suggested going around. With their strength, they would not be able to fly over this forbidden area. Moreover, this forbidden area had a power that made it impossible to tell which direction to go. If ordinary people entered, they would be trapped there for the rest of their lives. It was possible that crossing this forbidden area would take many times longer than going around, so most people who came here would go around. Hearing this, Zhao Fu thought about it and decided to go around. Roar! A massive roar sounded out as the ground started to tremble. It was as if an enormous creature had charged out from within the forbidden area, and a terrifying aura swept out like a wild gale. Husband! Sensing this terrifying aura, Bai Xiaoxi's expression became quite serious because this aura was the same as a world realm expert's. It was very likely that the ghost that had charged out was at the world realm, and from this roar, it seemed that the monster was incredibly large and might be even stronger than ordinary world realm experts. Zhao Fu's expression did not become serious at all. Now, Zhao Fu did not fear world realm experts, and in the underworld, Zhao Fu could use his nation armament. The enormous creature appeared in front of Zhao Fu and the others. It was a 1,000-meter-long creature that looked like a human lying on the ground. Its hands were like claws, and it had a sharp mane. It had 3 vertical eyes on its head and a mouth full of sharp fangs. He Xiaojia said in shock, Husband, this is a seeking beast. It has the ability to find all kinds of vein treasures, and this seeking beast is incredibly big. It's quite rare. As He Xiaojia spoke, the seeking beast's 3 vertical eyes stared at Zhao Fu because it had come for Zhao Fu. It could sense that Zhao Fu was a living underworld treasure. Zhao Fu looked at the seeking beast and found that it had some injuries. Its strength was indeed a bit stronger than an ordinary world realm expert, but Zhao Fu was not afraid at all. Roar! The seeking beast gave a massive roar that shook the surroundings and gave off a ferocious aura as it charged at Zhao Fu. Zhao Fu stretched out his hand and motioned for the black and white impermanences to retreat. The black and white impermanences understood that they would not be able to participate in the following battle, so they obediently retreated far away. Boom! At that moment, the 1,000-meter-long seeking beast quickly crawled in front of Zhao Fu and raised its massive claws. It gave off a mountain-splitting power as it ferociously slapped toward Zhao Fu, giving off a massive sound. However, its massive claws were blocked by a small azure energy barrier, and Zhao Fu did not hesitate to use the 12 metal colossi power. The seeking beast looked quite confused, It had never thought that Zhao Fu, who only had Saint Realm cultivation, would be able to block its attack. What shocked it even more was what happened next. Zhao Fu took out a blood-red sword covered with sharp teeth and slashed at the Seeking Yin Beast's claws, sending out a massive blood-red sword light that gave off terrifying and savage power. Roar! The Seeking Yin Beast roared in pain as its arm was slashed by the sword light. A gash appeared on its palm, from which gray blood flowed out. At that moment, Zhao Fu coldly looked at the Seeking Yin Beast and sent out another massive blood-red sword light. The massive sword energy sent the Seeking Yin Beast flying back dozens of meters and crashing to the ground, resulting in a massive explosion. The ground violently trembled and countless leaves fell like rain. The Seeking Yin Beast furiously crawled up from the ground, and a massive wave of Yin energy exploded out from its body, causing a wild gale to blow out. The surroundings became incredibly cold and eerie, and a ghost-like figure slowly appeared on the Seeking Yin Beast's back. The Seeking Yin Beast's power had greatly increased, and its aura was even more powerful than before. It brought with it a massive, chilling wind, and sensing this aura, all creatures in the surroundings quickly ran away. Roar! The Seeking Yin Beast once again roared at Zhao Fu before ferociously charging at Zhao Fu, giving off an aura that seemed to be able to destroy a mountain. With his nation armament's power, Zhao Fu did not feel any fear. He raised the sadistic killing sword, and a massive sword light spread out as countless images appeared. Angels with broken wings, headless demons, heartless spirits, humans with only their upper bodies. A massive wave of sadistic killing power flooded out, causing the heavens and earth to tremble in fear. Boom! The Seeking Yin Beast gave off massive power as it rushed over, and Zhao Fu slashed out. A blood-red sword light exploded out, and a shockwave turned into a wild gale. The Seeking Yin Beast's body was sent flying, and it crashed into a small mountain, causing rocks to fly everywhere. Now, the Seeking Yin Beast crashed to the ground, and its aura weakened. There was a deep gash on its left shoulder, from which gray blood continuously flowed out. Zhao Fu coldly laughed and held the sadistic killing sword as he flew towards the Seeking Yin Beast. A trace of fear appeared in the Seeking Yin Beast's eyes, and it knew that it was not a match for Zhao Fu. It got up from the ground and quickly ran in another direction. Zhao Fu disdainfully laughed and stood in the air as he stretched out a hand towards the escaping Seeking Yin Beast, and a massive power spread out. Clang, clang, clang. The sound of chains rang out as countless chains shot out from the ground, ferociously binding the Seeking Yin Beast to the ground. The Seeking Yin Beast continuously struggled and furiously roared, but it could not break free at all. Zhao Fu flew to the Seeking Yin Beast's head and looked at it, while the Seeking Yin Beast furiously looked at Zhao Fu. At that moment, the black and white impermanences flew over, and He Xiaojia said, "Husband, see if you can subdue it. See if you can subdue it." Seeking Yin Beasts are already very rare, and such a large Seeking Yin Beast is even rarer. Subduing it will be of great use. Hearing this, Zhao Fu looked at the Seeking Yin Beast and said in the underworld's language, "Are you willing to submit to me now?" The Seeking Yin Beast was quite intelligent, and it could most likely understand Zhao Fu's words. However, the Seeking Yin Beast furiously roared at Zhao Fu a few times, evidently not willing to submit so easily. Zhao Fu did not hold back and sent lightning power into the chains. Lightning greatly countered Yin attributes, and countless arcs of lightning appeared around the Seeking Yin Beast's body as it gave off a massive roar. A while later, the Seeking Yin Beast's aura became much weaker, and Zhao Fu once again asked if it was willing to submit to him. However, the Seeking Yin Beast initially refused. Chapter 14:01. After the light dissipated, a white-haired elder wearing gray robes and holding a banner appeared in front of Zhao Fu. Zhao Fu's expression became somewhat serious because this elder's power surpassed the world realm and was at the divine realm. It was almost impossible to find such an expert in the outer regions, and was quite rare in the inner regions. Zhao Fu's expression became serious. Facing such an expert, Zhao Fu would have to use all of his nation armament's power to defeat him, or else he would most likely lose. The elder looked at the Seeking beast before looking at Zhao Fu and said, "This Seeking beast is something that this old man has been searching for. You can give it to me, and I will give you some compensation." Sensing Zhao Fu's nation armament's power, the elder's expression became quite serious, and his tone became slightly more courteous. However, how could Zhao Fu agree? Zhao Fu had found some injuries on the Seeking beast's body, which were most likely caused by the elder. However, he had taken great pains to capture the Seeking beast, so how could he give it to someone else so easily? Seeing that Zhao Fu refused, the elder did not remain courteous. He waved his banner, and a massive wave of Qi spread out as a 1,000-meter-tall, muscular ghost appeared, giving off a powerful aura of suppression. The 6 gray dots in Zhao Fu's right eye quickly spun as a massive wave of Qi flooded out. A massive roar sounded out as a 1,000-meter-tall, ferocious-looking ghost appeared behind Zhao Fu. Seeing the 6 gray dots in Zhao Fu's right eye and the aura he gave off, a look of shock appeared in the elder's eyes. He then had the ghost behind him attack Zhao Fu. Zhao Fu also ordered the ghost behind him to charge at the ghost. The two 1,000-meter-tall ghosts ferociously clashed together, resulting in a massive explosion. They used their teeth and fists to attack each other, and they seemed to be evenly matched. The elder once again waved his banner, causing a massive wave of Qi to form a gray fog that flowed toward Zhao Fu. There seemed to be countless arms within it that grabbed at Zhao Fu, looking quite terrifying. Zhao Fu raised a sadistic killing sword and slashed out. A blood-red crescent containing terrifying power flashed out, splitting the incoming mist in half. The elder's deep eyes looked at Zhao Fu as he asked, "Why don't you use that power of yours?" Zhao Fu did not understand what the elder meant, but since the elder had attacked him first, Zhao Fu would not show mercy. The sadistic killing sword gave off a powerful sword light, as Zhao Fu gave off a sharp aura and rushed towards the elder. Seeing Zhao Fu rush over, the elder's expression became serious, and he sent a large amount of power into his banner before vigorously waving it. A massive gust of cold wind blew with destructive power, uprooting countless trees and blowing Zhao Fu's body away. Boom! A massive explosion sounded out as Zhao Fu released all of his nation armament's power. A green aura flame burst forth around his body, accompanied by a massive aura, and Zhao Fu's body instantly stopped flying. Seeing Zhao Fu release all of his nation armament's power, the elder's expression fell because this power greatly surpassed his. However, in order to confirm his suspicions, he also exploded out with all of his power, and a gray and eerie aura flame burst forth around his body. The elder raised his banner, which flashed with countless runes, and a formless aura spread out, causing the heavens and earth to fall silent. Massive amounts of Qi madly gathered, forming massive waves of Qi. Roar, 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 roar. In that instant, countless ghosts appeared in the air. There were countless of them, and there were at least 1 million of them. They flooded towards Zhao Fu from all directions, seeming to be able to devour Zhao Fu. In front of these countless ghosts and Qi, the 6 paths of reincarnation bloodline within Zhao Fu's body became incredibly excited, and Zhao Fu's right eye suddenly widened. 6 gray holes appeared above Zhao Fu's head. Each of them was only 1 meter wide, and they were spread out in 6 different locations. They gave off 6 different powerful auras, and the 6 gray holes started to spin, forming a massive gray vortex. Boom! A massive suction force exploded out, and the countless ghosts looked terrified as they retreated. However, it was too late, and the countless ghosts were sucked into the vortex. Not a single ghost was able to escape. In front of that massive suction force, not only did the black and white impermanences look terrified, but the elder also looked quite afraid. The seeking beast also looked quite afraid, but it also looked quite excited. This was because the aura that the vortex gave off greatly countered them. Under this aura, their bodies, bloodlines, and souls became incredibly cold, and they felt immense terror. Ordinary ghosts did not dare to resist at all and could only kneel on the ground in fear. This power was naturally the 6 paths of reincarnation power, one of the supreme powers of the underworld. All ghosts innately feared this power. Even though it also contained Yin energy, the 6 paths of reincarnation power was the bane of all underworld powers. All Yin energy would automatically dissipate, and no ghost would not fear this power. Zhao Fu looked at the elder with his right eye, and, just as he was about to attack, the elder hurriedly said, "Wait, I'm willing to recognize you as my master." Hearing this, Zhao Fu looked quite surprised and asked, "Why? If you run now, you should be able to escape." The elder smiled and said with a trace of respect, "Because you have the 6 paths of reincarnation power, and no one in the underworld can control this power. Only the 6 paths demon images have this power, and you'll definitely become the sovereign of the underworld. To be able to serve such a master is the glory of every underworld creature." Roar, roar, roar. The seeking beast excitedly and fearfully roared at Zhao Fu a few times, looking like it was willing to submit. It had sensed the 6 paths of reincarnation aura from Zhao Fu's body, so it had wanted to come and steal it. However, it now found that not only did Zhao Fu have the 6 paths of reincarnation aura, but he also had the power to control the 6 paths of reincarnation. In fact, his bloodline even had the 6 paths of reincarnation bloodline. No underworld creature would not be afraid of such a person. Just like the elder, it believed that Zhao Fu would definitely become the sovereign of the underworld, so it changed its attitude and expressed its loyalty. That was how reality was. If there was a poor master who could not give anything, no one would go to him. However, if he was a billionaire, many people would flock to him. Chapter 1402. Zhao Fu looked at the elder and the seeking beast in front of him and felt quite doubtful. Zhao Fu would not trust a person so much, so he offered to place restrictions in their bodies, and they easily agreed. After placing restrictions in their bodies, Zhao Fu felt at ease and asked the elder, "What is your name and what faction are you from?" The old man smiled as he replied, "Master, this old man's name is Shang Long, and I don't come from any power. I'm just a loose cultivator, and I've been cultivating alone since 300 years ago." Hearing this, Zhao Fu nodded and looked at the seeking beast. The seeking beast obediently lay on the ground, looking incredibly loyal. The seeking beast was a special type of beast that could not speak. So even if Zhao Fu asked it a question, it would not be able to answer, so Zhao Fu did not ask. However, Zhao Fu had given it a name, which was Qian Sun. Following this, Zhao Fu asked Shang Long curiously, "You came out from the Ghost God Forbidden Area. What dangers are there? What good things are there?" Shang Long thought about it before replying. In actuality, the creatures at the outskirts of the Forbidden Area are not very strong and can be easily dealt with. However, no one dares to go within the Forbidden Area. This Forbidden Area has existed for over 10,000 years, and after developing to this point, it is likely that even Emperor Heaven Realm experts and above will be in great danger. As for the valuable things, those ghost god creatures and the materials on their bodies are quite useful and are far better than ordinary materials. This old man does not know about anything else. This old man only chased the seeking beast here and is not very familiar with this place. The seeking beast lightly cried out and spat out a golden gray crystal that was the size of a mung bean. It gave off a powerful godly spirit aura, and what was surprising was that the crystal gave off the same aura as the Forbidden Area. Shang Long said in shock, "This seeking beast is indeed the best beast for finding attribute treasures. It was actually able to find a ghost god's divinity shard. This shard no longer has any power, but with this item and the great soul-gathering technique that this old man has learned, perhaps we can gather a trace of the ghost god's remnant soul that fell here back then." That ghost god has half-step celestial power and is even more powerful than godlords. If we can gather a trace of its remnant soul, it might be quite useful. May I ask if this old man can summon it? Hearing this, Zhao Fu thought about it and agreed. Following this, Shang Long took the divinity shard and came to an empty area within the forbidden area. He tossed the divinity shard into the sky and chanted a mysterious incantation, causing the divinity shard to give off intense gray-gold light as it floated in the air. Shang Long gripped the banner with both hands and chanted as he waved the banner, causing a formless energy to spread out. This energy was quite strange and could make people's hair stand on end, and they felt as if their souls above it. The divinity shard absorbed that strange energy and gave off an even more intense gray light before turning into a ray of light and shooting into the sky. Boom! A massive explosion sounded out as the ray of light shot into the sky and turned into a ripple of light that spread out. The entire ghost god forbidden area seemed to become restless as countless beast cries tore through the sky, giving off a shocking aura. A formless wave of soul energy slowly gathered toward Zhao Fu and formed a gray-gold orb of light. The orb of light became larger and larger, forming a hazy figure. The hazy figure continued to condense before becoming corporeal. A woman appeared in front of everyone. Her expression was cold, and she had long, gray-white hair and a pair of gray-gold eyes. There were 2 black horns on either side of her forehead, and she wore black clothes and gave off a powerful, godly spirit aura. Who are you? The ghost god's remnant soul's gray-gold eyes gave off a powerful aura of suppression as she looked at everyone. As a former half-step celestial expert, her aura was incredibly powerful, and no one dared to look her in the eye. However, she no longer had her memories, and she did not even have stage 1 strength. She only had a powerful aura and did not have any terrifying power, so there was no need to fear her. Zhao Fu stretched out his hand, and a formless energy grabbed the ghost god's remnant soul in front of him, causing the ghost god to look furious. Even though she did not have her memories, she knew that she was a very powerful person. However, even though the ghost god was furious, she did not resist Zhao Fu's power at all. Zhao Fu looked at the ghost god's stats and found that she was a godly and ghostly existence, and he could not describe her. He could nurture her as a godly spirit, and Zhao Fu could subdue a godly spirit. Let go of me. The ghost god's gray-gold eyes gave off a powerful aura as she angrily glared at Zhao Fu and cried out. Zhao Fu was not afraid of her at all. After all, it was only her double pupils that gave off an oppressive and mysterious feeling, while Zhao Fu had 7 pupils. Facing Zhao Fu's eyes, which were even more terrifying than hers, the one who was afraid was still her. Be obedient. No matter how powerful you were in the past, you're now just a piece of trash without any power at all, Zhao Fu said coldly to the ghost god. The ghost god was furious, but she did not have a trace of power within her body, nor did she have any memories. Facing Zhao Fu's terrifying eyes and power that far surpassed hers, she could only grit her teeth and endure. Owner, let her try this ghost god creature. These ghost god creatures are creatures created from her power, and they might have some effects. Shang Long caught a cat-like creature and came to Zhao Fu's side as he spoke. Zhao Fu looked at the ghost god, and the ghost god angrily harumphed and looked at the ghost god creature, feeling a sense of familiarity. She went up and hugged the ghost god creature. The cat-like ghost god creature was very weak and only at stage 1 strength. In the hands of an expert like Shang Long, it was incredibly afraid and desperately struggled. However, after being in the ghost god's hands, it no longer felt afraid and became docile. This was because it could feel a very familiar aura, which came from its bloodline and soul. As such, it no longer felt afraid and listened to the ghost god's words. Could it be that this ghost god could control all of the Forbidden Region's creatures? Thinking about that, Zhao Fu felt incredibly delighted. There were countless creatures in this Forbidden Region, and they all had the power to threaten experts above the Emperor Heaven Realm. If he could control this power, he would not have to fear the Aeolian Empire, and Zhao Fu would immediately destroy the Aeolian Empire. However, was it really as simple as he thought? Zhao Fu did not believe it himself, so he caught a few more ghost god creatures and tried, and indeed, it did not work. Chapter 1403. Perhaps it was because the ghost god was too weak that she could not control all creatures. In the future, when she was stronger, she would come back and try again. Zhao Fu's gaze fell on the ghost god creature that the ghost god was hugging and said, "Throw it away and come with us." The ghost god looked quite displeased and refused, saying, "No, I want to take it with me." Zhao Fu looked at the cat-like ghost god creature and felt that it would not be much of a problem. So he had the ghost god take it and put the seeking Een beast into his spirit pet ring. Because it was too big, it would not be convenient for it to follow them. Following this, Zhao Fu decided not to go around and instead head over. Shanglong had said that there were no dangers in the outskirts, and Zhao Fu felt that there would not be any. After all, if he used his nation armament, Zhao Fu would be slightly stronger than him. A few days later, the group successfully flew past the forbidden area and arrived at another place. They even found a ghost city. Everyone put on their cloaks and the black and white impermanences, and Shanglong obediently followed by Zhao Fu's side. The ghost god hugged the cat and looked around curiously. After a few days, the ghost god had become more mature and alluring, and she had become much more docile. This was because Zhao Fu had trained her well over the past few nights. Their goal in coming to the ghost city was to use the teleportation channel to continue to the Een domain. As such, after entering the city, everyone headed towards the teleportation channel. Bang! Suddenly, a muffled explosion sounded out as a well-dressed young man was sent flying by a punch. He coughed up a large mouthful of blood and cried out on the ground, "Hurry up and kill him! He dared to hit me. I'm going to skin him alive." A few soldiers with stage 8 strength rushed at a valiant-looking young man wearing a long robe. The young man's expression was one of disdain, and he sent the soldiers flying with a few blows. The soldiers coughed up a few mouthfuls of blood, and a few of their bones were broken. Zhao Fu did not care about this, but because of this matter, the city was locked down and the teleportation channel could not be used. After all, the person who had been beaten up was the city lord's son. Following this, a wealthy-looking middle-aged man brought many soldiers over. He was most likely the city lord of this place and had Saint Realm strength. Looking at his injured son, he exploded out with a powerful aura, causing everyone to retreat. Everyone felt that things were going to be bad, because with the city lord's strength and with so many soldiers rushing over, something was definitely going to happen to that young man. However, what happened next exceeded everyone's expectations. The young man took out a command medallion, and the city lord was so frightened that he immediately knelt on the ground and apologized. He said that he had no intention of offending the young man, and that he wanted the young man to forgive them. The token was made of white jade, and there were many images of ghosts and monsters carved on it. There was even the word ghost written on it. It gave off a faint treasure light and a powerful deterrence. The black and white impermanences did not recognize this command medallion because the underworld was quite big and it was impossible for them to know everything. However, because Shanglong had been here for a while, he had some understanding of these things. Shanglong explained to Zhao Fu that the command medallion was a ghost command medallion, and it belonged to the most powerful kingdom in this place. Only a prince could have a ghost command medallion, which meant that the young man in front of them was the prince of that powerful kingdom. A prince of such a powerful kingdom was naturally not someone that a mere city lord could offend, which was why they were so afraid. Everyone else looked at him with respect and did not dare to offend him, and they did not even dare to breathe loudly. The valiant-looking young man coldly harumphed, "Next time, you better watch carefully, or else this prince won't be so easy to talk to next time." The wealthy-looking middle-aged man's face was covered with sweat as he hurriedly nodded. Following this, the valiant-looking young man walked towards the teleportation channel and everyone else immediately made way for the prince of such a powerful kingdom. Now that the city was under lockdown, the teleportation channel could once again be used, and Zhao Fu brought his people to the teleportation channel. This caused everyone to look quite confused because the prince had not left yet, and these people wanted to teleport with him. The prince was angry. So weren't these people seeking death? Now that they knew the prince's identity, they did not show any respect at all. The wealthy-looking middle-aged man felt that his opportunity had come. In order to make up for offending the prince, he naturally had to put on a good performance, and he immediately yelled, "Who do you think you are? The Ghost Kingdom's prince hasn't teleported yet, and you dare to offend him? Men, capture them and have them kneel and apologize to the prince." A group of soldiers obeyed and went up, preparing to capture Zhao Fu and the others and have them kneel and apologize. The wealthy-looking middle-aged man did not know that he had offended an even more terrifying person. Arg! A blood-red sword light flashed out, and 10 or so soldiers howled as their bodies were cut into pieces, and the smell of blood spread out. This caused everyone to feel quite shocked. These people dared to kill the city lord's soldiers in front of him. This battle was unavoidable, and these people were definitely going to die. The wealthy-looking middle-aged man felt quite furious. He had felt quite humiliated when he had knelt and begged for mercy, but because this person was a prince, he could not afford to offend him. Now, a few cloaked people who did not even dare to show their faces dared to act so arrogantly. The wealthy-looking middle-aged man exploded out with a massive aura and rushed at Zhao Fu and the others like a ferocious tiger, wanting to kill Zhao Fu and the others on the spot. "Pu!" The cloaked person waved his hand, and a sword light flashed out. The surroundings became deathly silent, and the wealthy-looking middle-aged man's body froze as a bloody gash appeared from head to toe. Following this, blood spurted out as the middle-aged man was directly split in half. The people in the surroundings gave off ear-piercing cries. They had never thought that this person would be able to kill the city lord, and in just one attack at that. The prince frowned because the wealthy-looking middle-aged man had stood up for him, and Zhao Fu killing him was equivalent to slapping his face. "Sir, you've gone too far." He was speaking up for this prince. "You people really don't know what's good for you," the prince said to Zhao Fu angrily. Bang! Just as the prince spoke, a massive, formless hand grabbed him and flung him out. The prince was sent flying and crashed into 10 or so buildings, causing dust to fly everywhere. No one knew if he was dead or alive. Everyone in the surroundings gasped and ran in all directions. That person was too terrifying. Not only had he killed the city lord, but he also did not place the prince of a royal kingdom in his eyes. That prince was the prince of the most powerful royal kingdom here, and no one dared to offend him. Shanglong did not mind and followed behind Zhao Fu because he was sure that Zhao Fu would become a sovereign of the underworld in the future and would not have to fear a royal kingdom. Chapter 1404. Zhao Fu did not mind that prince because Zhao Fu was just passing by. Moreover, Zhao Fu had even humiliated an imperial prince before, so why would he be afraid of a prince? Everyone continued onwards and used teleportation channels 10 or so times. After traveling for 2 days, they arrived at a large faction. After traveling for so long, Zhao Fu felt that they should stop and rest for a while. They found an inn and asked for 2 rooms, one for Shanglong and one for Zhao Fu and the 3 women. "Husband." The black and white impermanences came to the room and looked flirtatious and expectant as they hugged Zhao Fu and softly called out. Zhao Fu naturally understood what they meant and hugged them to the bed. The god ghost's face was red and could not help but think about their first time, which was the night that Zhao Fu had subdued her. Back then, Zhao Fu had directly taken her. Back then, she did not understand anything, but because she was quite afraid of Zhao Fu, she struggled a bit and cooperated with Zhao Fu. She had never thought that doing it with someone as despicable as Zhao Fu would be so enjoyable. Seeing Zhao Fu do it with the black and white impermanences, the god ghost brought the little cat to the bed and joined in. There was nothing to be shy about, as it had been like this for the past few days. The three of them did it with Zhao Fu together. The little cat watched by the side. With its intelligence, it did not understand what they were doing, but seeing how happy its owner was under that man, it gave a happy smile. A few hours later, Zhao Fu hugged the three red-faced women and asked, "Hey, Xiaojia, how much longer until we reach the historical remnant?" They had been in the underworld for quite some time, but they still had not reached the historical remnant. So Zhao Fu could not help but feel quite anxious. "Husband, it should be quite fast to reach the inner domains because the inner domains and the yin domains are quite closely connected. There are many large-scale teleportation channels that can lead to the yin domains," He Xiaojia explained to Zhao Fu. Zhao Fu heaved a sigh of relief when he heard this. Bai Xiaoxi smiled happily and said, "This route just happens to pass by our clan. Husband, we can go back and take a look." Zhao Fu nodded. By now, the black and white impermanences had told Zhao Fu about them. The black and white impermanences were a family with two factions. One was the black impermanence, while the other was the white impermanence. They were stronger than an empire. All of the white impermanences and black impermanences in the world came from this family, and Bai Xiaoxi and He Xiaojia's status in the family was neither too high nor too low. The red-faced ghost god suddenly said shyly, "Husband, what's wrong? Can you give me a name? I don't even have a name right now. I feel a little uncomfortable when you keep calling me that." Zhao Fu smiled. "Then you'll be called Lady Ghost." Hearing this name, the ghost god smiled and nodded, saying, "From now on, I'll be called Guiji. Lady Ghost still wants it." Zhao Fu smiled and pressed her under his body, and he started to do it with her. The black and white impermanences also smiled and joined in. At night, Zhao Fu brought the three radiant women and Shang Long to the inn's hall to have some food. It was the first time Zhao Fu had eaten underworld food, and he did not know what it was like. After receiving permission from Zhao Fu, Shang Long sat by the side. Looking at the radiant women, he naturally knew what had just happened and felt incredibly envious. After doing it with Zhao Fu, their bodies had been baptized by the 6 paths of reincarnation power, and their power and auras were continuously rising. They were also becoming purer and purer. Lady Ghost, who did not have any power back then, had only done it with Zhao Fu for a few days, and her cultivation had risen incredibly quickly. It was a pity that he was not a woman, or else he would have also received such treatment. After the food was brought up, Zhao Fu felt quite surprised. The food looked like normal food, but it was all cold. Underworld creatures did not seem to like eating hot food and preferred eating cold food. "Husband, I'll feed you." Bai Xiaoxi leaned against Zhao Fu and used her chopsticks to pick up a piece of meat as she said gently and considerately to Zhao Fu. Zhao Fu hugged Bai Xiaoxi and smiled as he prepared to open his mouth. However, a shocked and unrestrained voice sounded out from outside. "What flirtatious black and white impermanences! What beautiful ghosts!" A handsome man in white robes with an elegant demeanor also walked into the inn with 5 women. Of the 5 women, one had a bewitching figure and gave off a flirtatious aura. One had a seductive figure and looked bold and cheerful. One was tall and slim. One had a small figure and looked cute. And one had a slim figure and looked gentle and quiet. The man brought the 5 women and walked over to Zhao Fu and sat down on Zhao Fu's table as he said to Zhao Fu, "Brother, I like your 3 women a lot. I like your 3 women very much. As long as you name a price, I will try my best to satisfy you." He Xiaojia smiled as she looked at the man and leaned against Zhao Fu. She did not have to worry at all, because even though Zhao Fu had many women, he definitely would not trade them. Moreover, how could this man compare to Zhao Fu? He Xiaojia did not like him at all. Guiji had only been with Zhao Fu for a few days and felt quite worried that Zhao Fu would give her someone else. She hugged the kitten and pitifully looked at Zhao Fu. Zhao Fu frowned and felt that this man was not someone to be trifled with. His aura was quite powerful, but Zhao Fu still said, "Sir, it's best if you leave. I'm not interested in giving my women to someone else. I see that the women behind you are quite good. How about you name a price?" The white-clothed man's gaze became cold, and traces of killing intent appeared around him. He was giving Zhao Fu some face, but Zhao Fu still did not accept. The white-clothed man thought about it, but quickly returned to normal. The cold-looking woman next to him said mockingly, "Who do you think you are? You dare to speak to our husband like that? Do you know that our husband is the second prince of the Ghost Lord Kingdom, and we're concubines? You can't even dream about touching us." Hearing this, Zhao Fu's expression became quite strange because the prince that Zhao Fu had fought before was a prince of the Ghost Lord Kingdom, which was the most powerful kingdom here. The white-clothed man was much more discerning than his little brother and knew that Zhao Fu was not simple. He took out a jade slip and said, "This is the curse of 10,000 people that I just bought for hundreds of millions of yen coins at the auction. If you give them to me, this is yours. Also, you know who I am. I advise you not to seek your own death. Don't throw your life away for a few women." Hearing these threatening words, Zhao Fu's gaze became cold, and he said, "Scram." Chapter 1405. The cold-looking woman looked at Zhao Fu and the others as if they were dead and coldly harumphed before leaving with the white-clothed man. "Master, what should we do now?" Shang Long understood what was going to happen, so he asked Zhao Fu. Zhao Fu frowned and thought for a moment before saying, "Let's pack our things and leave this place as soon as possible." Following this, they left the city and planned to head towards the underworld, but they were stopped by the white-clothed man. Moreover, the white-clothed man had called over 4 helpers, 3 men and 1 woman. 2 of the men looked about the same, one looked quite vulgar, and the other woman was quite ugly. However, she was the most powerful and had reached the divine realm. The white-clothed man looked at Zhao Fu and coldly laughed as he said, "You're seeking death. If you had given those 3 women to me, none of this would have happened. Those 3 women are still mine, and I'll play with them in front of you later before selling them to prostitutes. Only then will I be able to vent my anger." Zhao Fu was expressionless as he asked, "Do you really think you've won?" The white-clothed man wildly laughed as he said, "I know you're not ordinary, but you're only at the saint realm while I have heaven realm cultivation. I have 3 world realm cultivators and a divine realm cultivator. Do you really think I can lose? Is that so?" A trace of a cold smile appeared on Zhao Fu's face as he stepped forwards and exploded out with his nation armament's power. A green aura flame erupted around Zhao Fu's body, and a terrifying power seemed to freeze the heavens and earth. The white-clothed man's expression fell. He had never thought that Zhao Fu would have such a powerful nation armament. However, he did not think that he would lose. However, in the next moment, his expression fell as the 6 gray dots in Zhao Fu's right eye quickly spun, and a wave of 6 paths of reincarnation power spread out from Zhao Fu's body. It was not just the white-clothed man. The others were also quite shocked. They had never thought that Zhao Fu would have the sovereign power of the underworld. "Second Prince, I won't take this job. You can deal with it yourself." Out of the 4 people that the white-clothed man had called over, the wretched-looking old man was so frightened that he directly cried out loudly. That was because the identity of a person who possessed the power of a sovereign was so terrifying that even an empire would not dare to offend him. What's more, the nation armament's power that Zhao Fu had released contained the power of 5 worlds. Their side was at a great disadvantage. He had been called over by the white-clothed man, and there was no need for him to risk his life for some benefits. As such, he decisively refused. "Second Prince, that's where you're wrong. You actually hid such a big piece of information. Do you know what people with this kind of power think? Don't you? We won't take this job," the 2 big men said. Finally, when the ugly woman saw that the others had given up, she could only give up and no longer participate. This caused the white-clothed man's face to become pale. He had never thought that the 4 people he had invited would not dare to participate after seeing Zhao Fu's power. "Chun, and he said Sun Fu and God, he king. Fu, are we just going to wait for death?" The white-clothed man thought about it and hurriedly said, "You don't dare to take part, but don't think that he'll let you off. Now that you know that he has the 6 paths of reincarnation power, if this news spreads, the entire underworld will be shaken." Hearing this, The four people's expressions fell, and they looked at Zhao Fu. Zhao Fu felt quite surprised and had never thought that things would turn out like this. The underworld's people were simply too afraid of the 6 paths of reincarnation power. In actuality, this was all thanks to the 6 paths demon images' main bodies. Every time they became angry or something happened, the 6 paths of reincarnation power would sweep through the entire underworld. They had always lived in the shadows, so they were naturally afraid of the 6 paths of reincarnation power. Zhao Fu realized the effects of the 6 paths of reincarnation power and wondered if he should kill them to hide this information. However, after thinking about it, he said, "Can you guarantee that my information won't be leaked?" The others hurriedly nodded. They did not want to take part in this and wanted to leave in a hurry. Even if they knew, they would not dare to leak it, as many major figures would come to find them. When that time came, they would most likely die. Zhao Fu did not believe their promises, so he had them sign a contract and use the contract's power to bind them. The four people quickly agreed. The white-clothed man's expression was quite unsightly, and he immediately brought the women and hurriedly ran. Clang, clang, clang. Chains containing terrifying power shot out. Now that Zhao Fu had his nation armament, the chains were incredibly powerful and easily bound up the white-clothed man and the women. Following this, Zhao Fu signed a contract with the four people, and the four people turned into rays of light and left. They did not dare to stay here because they could not offend the second prince. The Ghost Lord Kingdom would come to find them, so they had to leave as soon as possible. Seeing them leave, Zhao Fu let out a sigh of relief. If they were to fight, the result would be uncertain, and Zhao Fu would not have much of an advantage. Moreover, with his strength, he would not be able to keep that ugly woman with divine realm cultivation, and his identity might be exposed. As such, it would be better to resolve this crisis peacefully without fighting. After dealing with these things, Zhao Fu sneered as he looked at the white-clothed man who was chained up and his concubines. The white-clothed man said in fear, "Sire, I apologize for what I did before, and I'm willing to pay any price as long as you don't kill me. I'll also keep your identity a secret. Also, I'll give all the women you like to me to serve you well." Husband. When the women heard that the man in white had given them to Zhao Fu and told them to take good care of Zhao Fu, they cried out in grievance. This was especially so for the cold-looking woman, who looked terrified as she looked at Zhao Fu. Thinking about how she had mocked him before and how Zhao Fu would torture her to death, she felt that it would be better for her to die quickly. However, there were some tactful women, such as the gentle-looking woman. She changed her demeanor and flirtatiously called out, "Sir, in actuality, I've liked you since the first time I saw you. Actually, the first time I saw you, I already fell in love with you. Now, can I serve you well?" The white-clothed man inwardly cursed at her. He had treated her quite well, yet she had betrayed him. However, he still smiled and said, "Sire, if you like them, take them all." Chapter 1406. Right after releasing the 5 women, the cold-looking woman wanted to run because she was afraid that Zhao Fu would abuse her. However, she was only able to run a few steps before she was caught by He Xiaojia. After being slapped a few times, she became more obedient. Zhao Fu looked at the women in front of him and had them take off their clothes. The women tearfully took off their clothes, revealing their white bodies. The quiet-looking woman leapt into Zhao Fu's embrace and affectionately called out, "Husband, Arg." A pained cry sounded out as Zhao Fu casually waved his hand and a sword light shot out, cutting open the white-clothed man's eyes. The immense pain caused the white-clothed man to howl. The women, who had been standing there with tears in their eyes and not knowing what to do, hurriedly leapt into Zhao Fu's embrace. They did not dare to resist at all. Zhao Fu also started to ravage the women. The white-clothed man's eyes had been destroyed, and he could not see anything, but he could still hear. His women quickly became lewd under Zhao Fu's body and responded to Zhao Fu like prostitutes. The white-clothed man's eyes were in immense pain, and he felt incredibly furious. If he could leave this place alive, He would do anything to take revenge on Zhao Fu and make him suffer endless pain. Husband, I want more. The cold-looking woman had never thought that not only would Zhao Fu not torture her, but he would also give her such extreme pleasure. She gratefully hugged Zhao Fu as she said this. The black and white impermanences and Gu Ji had been watching from the side as Zhao Fu ravaged the women, but they could not help but join in. When the white-clothed man heard the women he fancied moaning under Zhao Fu's body, he felt quite startled and thought to himself, indeed, they're three beauties. In the future, I'll definitely play with their bodies. A few hours later, Zhao Fu put on his clothes and came to the white-clothed man's side. The white-clothed man had long since stopped screaming. Sensing Zhao Fu walking to his side, he suppressed his monstrous rage. Because Zhao Fu violated his women in front of him, and his women all cooperated with him. Although he was the one who asked them to serve Zhao Fu, he still remembered this hatred. Not only would Zhao Fu die a horrible death, but these bitches would also suffer the same fate. Of course, he could only smile obsequiously and say, "Your Excellency has enjoyed my woman. How does it taste? Does it feel good? I still have some women in my palace that I haven't brought out. If you want, I can give them all to you as long as you let me go." Zhao Fu smiled as he replied, "Your woman's taste is indeed quite good, but I can't let you off because the consequences will be too great. If you were an ordinary person, I would spare your life, but you're the prince of a kingdom." The cold-looking woman hugged Zhao Fu as she said, "Husband, it's Zhao Fu. We definitely can't let him off. If he returns to the palace, we'll be doomed." The other women all came up and told Zhao Fu to kill the white-clothed man. However, the reticent woman only said that she could consider crippling his strength and have him fend for himself. As the white-clothed man's women, they understood his personality. They had done it with another man in front of him, and when they returned, they would definitely be skinned alive and suffer immense pain. Hearing this, the white-clothed man furiously cursed at Zhao Fu and the women. He understood that it was impossible for Zhao Fu to let him off, so he could no longer hold back the flames of fury within him. "You'll all die a horrible death. Bitches, whores, bastards. I curse you to suffer endless pain. Your bodies will be chopped into pieces, and your souls will be roasted by flames. None of you will be able to escape, and I'll eat you all." The cursing stopped as Zhao Fu waved his hand, and a sword light cut off the white-clothed man's head, killing him on the spot. Looking at the white-clothed man's head, the five women sighed. After all, they had been together for a long time, so they could not help but feel sad. He could only blame himself. If he had not been lustful and had not tried to steal Zhao Fu's women, he would not have fallen to such a state. Not only had his women been done by someone else, but he had also died in the end. "Husband, I'm called Han Lingli. From now on, I'm your woman. You can take good care of me." The cold-looking woman was the first to recover and smiled as she hugged Zhao Fu. The other women also introduced themselves. Right now, they could only follow Zhao Fu and could not go anywhere else. At the same time, they fell in love with the feeling of doing it with Zhao Fu. It was hundreds of times more enjoyable than doing it with a white-clothed man. Zhao Fu found out the other women's names. The quiet-looking woman was called Xiao Li, the seductive woman was called Long Di, the flirtatious woman was called Xiao Mei, and the cute woman was called Nai Yu. Following this, Zhao Fu took the white-clothed man's spatial ring and took out the jade slip. Hearing that it was a very good item, Zhao Fu felt quite interested. As expected, there were many pleasant surprises. The 10,000 curse was a very powerful curse that could curse people over a large area. It could curse tens of thousands of people or hundreds of thousands of people, and it could even sacrifice tens of thousands of people to curse a single person. This curse was incredibly powerful and could even kill Emperor Heaven Realm experts. Zhao Fu had thought of a very good way to use it, and it would be very useful in the future. Zhao Fu kept the white-clad man's corpse. The corpse of a sky human stage cultivator was quite valuable. Next, Zhao Fu led them on their way. 7 days later, Zhao Fu finally arrived at the underworld. Because he had promised the black and white impermanences and happened to be passing by, Zhao Fu felt quite curious. As a top-tier family in the underworld, he came to their family. Even though they were one family with two factions, because of how many people there were countless families of various sizes within the two factions. He Xiaojie and Bai Xiaoxi's families were mid-tier families. After finding out that the two of them had returned, their families were all greatly shocked because they had gone to a new world within the heaven opening era. Normally, new worlds would still be under protection. However, the two of them had miraculously returned, which was something that her family had never expected. So when they heard that they had returned, there was a large group of people who did not believe it and ran to the city gates to look at Zhao Fu and the others. Looking at the black and white impermanences gather at the door, Bai Xiaoxi hugged Zhao Fu and happily hugged Zhao Fu as she said, "Husband, this is our family's city." This place did not allow outsiders to enter, and there were powerful restrictions all around. Zhao Fu and the others could only wait at the city gates. Chapter 1407. Bai Xiaoxi looked at Bai Wuchang with her beautiful eyes and said coquettishly, "Big brother, so you don't want us to come back?" The handsome white impermanence was Bai Xiaoxi's big brother, Bai Wuxing. Hearing Bai Xiaoxi's words, Bai Wuxing hurriedly explained, "How can I not welcome you back? I'm just a bit shocked that you were able to return to the underworld in such a short period of time." He Xiaojie looked at the cold black impermanence next to Bai Haoxing and calmly called out, "Big brother." Black impermanence was He Xiaojie's older brother, and he was called He Wuxin. His battle prowess was the strongest in the family's younger generation, and he was highly regarded by the family. Hearing He Xiaojie's cry, He Wuxin expressionlessly nodded, and his sharp gaze fell on Zhao Fu's body. Just then, He Xiaojie and Bai Xiaoxi had been leaning against him, and the people around him were all women. Although their faces couldn't be seen, judging from their enchanting figures, these women were definitely first-class beauties. "Who is he?" He Wuxin looked at Zhao Fu and coldly asked He Xiaojie. He Xiaojie looked somewhat dissatisfied. Her relationship with her brother had always been rather cold, and they were not as close as siblings. She opened her mouth to reply. Bai Xiaoxi replied shyly, "He's our husband." "What?" Hearing this, the people in the surroundings were sent into an uproar. He Xiaojie and Bai Xiaoxi were the two great beauties of their families, and hearing that they had a man, they felt quite jealous and envious. He Wuxin looked quite displeased as he pointed at the women and asked, "Who are these women?" He Xiaojie lightly snorts, "Of course they are all our husband's women." Boom! A massive aura exploded out of He Wuxin's body, sending out wild gales. The people in the surroundings were given a big fright and quickly retreated. He Wuxin looked coldly at Zhao Fu and said, "What despicable method did you use to deceive my sister and Lil Shi? Such a womanizer isn't fit to be my sister's husband. You're not welcome here. You better leave now. Shao Jie and Shao, she will stay here from now on." He Xiaojie immediately shouted angrily, "It's none of your business who we choose to be our husband. We're willing to serve him with other women." "You." He Wuxin looked furious as he stretched out a hand, which turned into a massive, formless hand that grabbed at He Xiaojie. Boom! Zhao Fu waved his sword finger, and a sharp sword light slashed out, directly slashing the invisible hand into pieces and turning it into a gust of wind. "She's my woman now. I don't care who you are. If you dare to touch her, don't blame me for being impolite," Zhao Fu said coldly. Bai Xiaoxi quickly stood up and said, "Brother Martial God, husband, don't do this." Bai Wuxing also stepped forward and said with a smile, "It's a good thing that Lil Shi and Lil Jie are back. Don't be unhappy because of this. Since he's Lil Shi and Lil Jie's husband, he's one of us. Come in." He Wuxin did not say anything and had a serious look on his face. He felt that Zhao Fu was very powerful, and his aura was also very powerful. He gave off an intense aura of danger. Zhao Fu did not say anything, and Bai Xiaoxi looked at Zhao Fu with a slightly pained expression as she said softly, "Husband, it's not that I'm afraid of you. Can you not be angry?" Hearing this, Zhao Fu lightly nodded. Just now, because He Wuxian had acted against He Xiaojie, Zhao Fu had felt quite angry. However, from that attack just then, everyone could tell that Zhao Fu's strength was not any weaker than He Wuxian's, and he was a very powerful person. He Xiaojie happily hugged Zhao Fu because Zhao Fu had helped her just then. Moreover, he had been so domineering, suppressing her big brother's strength, making her feel quite delighted. Following this, Zhao Fu and the others took off their cloaks. They had come as guests, and if they all wore cloaks, they would feel quite apologetic. Moreover, the black and white impermanence's status in their families was not low at all. This naturally caused many people to cry out. Gui Ji, Han Lingli, and the others were all extremely beautiful. Gui Ji had once been a half-celestial and was a ghost god, so she had a unique and mysterious aura. On the other hand, Han Lingli and the others were beauties carefully selected by the Ghost Lord Kingdom. There was also Zhao Fu's incredibly handsome face and extraordinary aura. He Wuxian originally did not care much, but looking at Gui Ji, who was hugging a small cat and had a graceful figure and gave off a mysterious and alluring aura, he suddenly felt his heart move. After entering the city, Zhao Fu and the others were arranged to stay in a courtyard. He Xiaojie and Bai Xiaoxi were called over by the elders of their families because they took this matter quite seriously. Zhao Fu had told them to only divulge some information and not to divulge any secrets. After hearing that in just 8 years, Zhao Fu had become the ruler of 5 worlds, they were incredibly shocked. It was the first time they had seen such a faction develop so quickly. Zhao Fu's potential was not small, and he could definitely become a genius. They did not know what had happened to Zhao Fu, nor did they know that he had made the 6 Paths demon images incredibly furious and that the underworld was still searching for him. If they knew about this, the entire black and white impermanence family would not be able to remain calm and would all be incredibly shocked. As for He Xiaojie and Bai Xiaoxi becoming concubines of a genius like Zhao Fu, their families fully supported this. After all, in the near future, they would also have a close relationship with the royal kingdom. Moreover, Zhao Fu's abilities were extraordinary and had already opened a passageway to the underworld, allowing them to enter the heaven-awakened world at will. From all aspects, Zhao Fu would be of great use to them, so they quickly held a banquet to properly welcome Zhao Fu. Zhao Fu naturally cooperated and carefully observed their strength. Even though He Xiaojie's family was only one of the many black and white impermanence families, they were not weak at all. They controlled a world's territory and had a large number of Stage 5 soldiers and Emperor Heaven Realm experts. Moreover, this was just one of the many black and white impermanence families. From this, it could be seen that the black and white impermanence families were a top-tier faction in the underworld. However, these ordinary black and white impermanence families had the right to make their own decisions. Even though they had the right to make their own decisions, they still generally obeyed the orders of the black and white impermanence families. The main family was the core of the black and white impermanence branch families, and they held the highest authority in the black and white impermanence families and had the most resources. They were responsible for leading the countless branch families, and it was said that the main family had a half-step celestial. Zhao Fu also wanted to cooperate with the black and white impermanence families. They were not only a top-tier faction in the underworld, but also one of the most ancient families. They had countless treasures and foundations, and they would be of great help to Qin in the future. Chapter 1408. He Wuxian felt quite displeased because he did not like Zhao Fu. He had too many women by his side, and his little sister and Bai Xiaoxi were both serving him. Thinking about that, he felt quite uncomfortable. Of course, he only felt uncomfortable and did not have any other feelings toward his little sister or Bai Xiaoxi. Seeing how his family welcomed Zhao Fu, even if he had any objections, it would be useless. Moreover, he did not know why his little sister and Bai Xiaoxi liked him so much. He did not want to attend the banquet. But looking at Gui Ji, who was hugging the little cat and smiling as she ate, He Wuxian's heart sped up. His cold expression became slightly gentle as he sat next to Gui Ji and asked, What's your name? Guiji looked at Hei Wuxian and smiled as she replied, I'm called Guiji. My husband gave me this name. Hearing Guiji's words, Hei Wuxian felt a stabbing pain in his heart. Such a beautiful woman was that person's wife. Hei Wuxian had long since expected this, but he did not want to give up because this was the first woman he had met who could move his heart. Following this, Hei Wuxian asked Guiji about other things. However, after hearing that Zhao Fu had forcefully taken Guiji, Hei Wuxian felt incredibly furious toward Zhao Fu. He felt that Zhao Fu was a scum, a bastard, and the scum of men. He had thought that he had made those women truly fall in love with him, but he had taken them by force. Guiji, I can take you away now. You don't need to fear that man. I'll protect you, Hei Wuxian said seriously as he looked at Guiji. Hearing this, Guiji felt quite startled and shook her head. I don't want to leave. Hei Wuxian said angrily, that man is simply a scum. Why didn't you retaliate against him? Why are you still willing to stay by that B-side? Hearing Hei Wuxian insult Zhao Fu, Guiji angrily looked at Hei Wuxian and said, Go away. I don't want to care about people like you. Hei Wuxian angrily wanted to say something, but Guiji hugged the little cat and left. This caused Hei Wuxian's face to turn ashen, and he looked at Zhao Fu, who was drinking with the others, with a trace of hatred in his eyes. After the banquet concluded, Zhao Fu felt quite drunk and went to Hei Xiaojia's room. It was completely dark, and it was late at night. Hei Xiaojia and Bai Xiaoxi were already asleep. Zhao Fu did not hold back and started to do it with them. It was just that Bai Xiaoxi seemed to struggle for a moment before going along with Zhao Fu, and Zhao Fu didn't mind. The next day, gentle sunlight shone in from outside the window, and Zhao Fu gradually woke up. He looked at Hei Xiaojia in his arms and a mature and beautiful woman, feeling quite surprised. This the Zhao Fu's and Long's not in Zhao Xiaojia's and was not in Bai. And Zhao Fu did not know who she was and why she was in Hei Xiaojia's room. Moreover, he had never heard that Hei Xiaojia had a big sister, so this woman was her mother. This made Zhao Fu feel quite speechless. The beautiful woman slowly woke up, and seeing Zhao Fu looking at her, she smiled and hugged Zhao Fu's neck as she said, Good son-in-law, I didn't enjoy myself enough last night, and I want more. Zhao Fu felt quite startled and started to do it with her, and Hei Xiaojia also woke up and joined in. Afterwards, the beautiful woman's face was red as she lay in Zhao Fu's embrace, and she smiled as she said, So what Xiaojia said was true. Doing it with you felt so good, and I felt as if I had lived my life for nothing. Zhao Fu still did not understand what was going on, and after asking them, he found out that Hei Xiaojia's mother had not seen Hei Xiaojia for many years and greatly missed her. As such, she had come to Hei Xiaojia's room to have a good chat with her, wanting to know how she had been. Hei Xiaojia had said that she had been doing very well and that her status in Qin City was not low. She had also done it with Zhao Fu, causing the woman to feel incredibly shocked. It was the first time she had heard of such a terrifying man, and she had not believed it at all. However, that night, a drunk man had pressed down on her and called out her daughter's name, and she understood who that man was. She had wanted to resist, but she was unable to resist at all under Zhao Fu's hands. Her body had become weak, and she had been ravaged by Zhao Fu, and she had fiercely responded to Zhao Fu. Hei Xiaojia said worriedly, Mother, aren't you afraid that Big Brother will find out? Even though Father has been dead for so long, Big Brother definitely won't accept a husband. The woman looked quite serious and smiled as she said, Don't worry. If we don't say anything, no one will know. Moreover, it's only happened once, and there won't be a next time. Who knows how many years it will be before I can see you again? Hearing her mother's words, Hei Xiaojia felt quite uncomfortable. The last time she had left, it had been 8 years since she had last returned, and she greatly missed her mother. Zhao Fu smiled as he said, Now that the underworld passageway has been opened, Xiaojia can come back at any time. Also, how about you leave with me? The beautiful woman rolled her eyes at Zhao Fu as she said, You bad boy. Do you want us to serve you together? Zhao Fu smiled and did not say anything else as he got up and left. It seemed that the black and white impermanence family was going to hold an event today, and Zhao Fu was going to take a look. On a spacious plain, there was a tall, ancient-looking black tower. This tower was 30 or so meters tall and only had 9 levels. It gave off a powerful aura, and there were many people standing around it, looking at the black tower. This was the black and white impermanence's tower of trial. Every black and white impermanence family had one, and it was used to test their disciples. The tower of trial was connected to the black and white impermanence treasury, and the better one's performance in the tower of trial, the greater the rewards would be. In actuality, the branch family's tower of trial was only a basic tower of trial. The truly terrifying one was the main family's 9-level ghost tower. It was said that it was 10,000 meters tall and contained countless terrifying ghosts, and it gave off a massive power. This tower of trial was only used to test the strength of the new disciples, and some of the older disciples could not go in. Each person could only enter 3 times, and they had already used up all of their chances. However, because the rewards were all very rare, there were still many people coming, and it was quite bustling here. Moreover, outsiders could also enter, and this was what Zhao Fu wanted the most. If there were no benefits, Zhao Fu would not have come here. Next to the entrance of the Tower of Trial was a stone stele that recorded the disciples who had performed the best in the Tower of Trial. He Wuxing and Bai Wuxing's names were on it, and He Wuxing was ranked first. Seeing Zhao Fu arrive, Bai Wuxing gave a humble smile. Zhao Fu was his little sister's husband, so Bai Wuxing treated Zhao Fu as one of his own. Chapter 1409. Brother Zhao, are you interested in giving it a try? Your cultivation might be a bit high, so you need to suppress it to stage 9 before you can enter, Bai Wuxing said as he smiled. Zhao Fu nodded in understanding and looked at the tall black tower with interest before walking in. Because of the banquet last night, many of the black and white impermanences recognized Zhao Fu. They knew that Zhao Fu was an esteemed guest of the family and was valued by the higher-ups of the family, so they were quite interested in him. Seeing that Zhao Fu was also going to enter the Tower of Trials, everyone felt quite curious to see just how powerful he was. If they were both at stage 9, what rank would he have on the stone stele? And would he surpass He Wuxing, who was ranked first? Zhao Fu walked into the black tower, and a restrictive aura covered his body. At most, he could only unleash stage 9 power, and his nation armament, City Lord Seal, and powerful weapons could not be used, making Zhao Fu feel quite surprised. After walking into the first room, countless gray runes flashed as a massive wave of yin qi spread out. Ghosts appeared and savagely stared at Zhao Fu as they roared and flooded over. Zhao Fu took out the slaughtering ghost sword that he had not used in a long time and casually slashed out a few times. A few terrifying sword lights shattered the ghosts, but in the next second, countless more ghosts appeared and madly leapt at Zhao Fu. After killing another wave, Zhao Fu felt that things were quite troublesome. Thinking about how underworld creatures were afraid of the 6 paths of reincarnation power, Zhao Fu grinned. The 6 gray dots in Zhao Fu's right eye quickly spun, but this time there were no gray holes. Instead, Zhao Fu's right eye seemed to have disappeared, and there was only a gray vortex in his eye socket, looking quite shocking. Zhao Fu used that method on his eye, and it was most likely an eye technique. He looked at the ghosts, and facing Zhao Fu, who gave off traces of the 6 paths of reincarnation power, they instinctively looked terrified and did not dare to get close to Zhao Fu. Who? The gray vortex in Zhao Fu's right eye quickly spun and exploded out with a massive suction force. The countless ghosts in the surroundings were sucked into Zhao Fu's right eye. Even though these ghosts weren't real, they contained a lot of yin qi. After Zhao Fu absorbed them into his right eye, Zhao Fu could feel that his right eye had become stronger. Following this, Zhao Fu absorbed all of the ghosts into his right eye and walked towards the 2nd level. Seeing Zhao Fu reach the 2nd level so quickly, the people outside all looked shocked. They felt that Zhao Fu was incredibly powerful and that only He Wuxian would be able to compare to him. However, what happened next caused everyone to be dumbfounded. After Zhao Fu reached the second level, he quickly reached the third level, then the fourth level, the fifth level, and finally the ninth level. This speed was so fast that it was unimaginable. It felt like there was no obstruction at all, and he had directly walked from the first floor to the ninth floor. Was there a malfunction in the Tower of Trials? Putting aside He Wuxian, no one else could do such a thing. Some disciples hurriedly called an elder over to check, and found that there was nothing wrong with the Tower of Trials. Everyone in the surroundings cried out. Did that mean that that person had reached the top by himself? Wasn't this a little too powerful? The elder did not understand what was going on. But after hearing that Zhao Fu had entered the Tower of Trials and reached the ninth floor so quickly, he left with a serious expression and reported this to the higher-ups. Bai Wuxing felt quite surprised that his little sister had found such a terrifying man. Even he felt that he was far inferior to him and could not compare at all. Within the family, this sort of speed could be called a miracle or a legend. It seemed that such a thing had never happened in the family's history, and he wondered what sort of terrifying effect he would have if he went to the main family's Tower of Trials. He Wuxian's expression was quite unsightly. Before, he had felt that it was beneath him to compare himself to Zhao Fu, and he hated Zhao Fu's actions of forcefully taking women and taking other people's wives. He felt that Zhao Fu was simply a scum, a beast, and a pervert. What he did not know was that Zhao Fu liked human mother. Now, He Wuxian understood that he could not compare to Zhao Fu because everyone knew that he was far weaker than him and was not a match for him. He Wuxian could not help but think of Gue Ji. In the future, it would be almost impossible for him to take her away from Zhao Fu. Thinking to there, He Wuxian felt a pain in his heart. On the ninth floor of the Tower of Trials, a 30-centimeter wide treasure chest appeared in front of Zhao Fu. This was most likely the reward for passing the Tower of Trials. Zhao Fu no longer had any interest in the Tower of Trials, as it was simply too trashy and did not feel any pressure at all. Finally, it was time to look at the reward. If the reward was just as trashy, Zhao Fu would have wasted all of his efforts. Zhao Fu stretched out his hand and opened the treasure chest, and a massive wave of demonic qi spread out, causing the surroundings to become incredibly cold and causing people's hairs to stand on end. A fresh, beating heart appeared in front of Zhao Fu. Zhao Fu looked through some information and understood that this was a heavenly demon ancestor's heart, an item similar to the demonic ancestor's finger. Ever since he had eaten that finger, Zhao Fu had missed that taste, and he wondered what this heart tasted like. Zhao Fu held the heart in his hand and took a bite. He found that it was extremely tender and tasted even better than the demonic ancestor's finger. Moreover, the beating heart seemed to contain some vitality, and even the blood was quite warm. Zhao Fu continued to eat the heart in a few bites, and his body quickly absorbed the massive wave of demonic qi. Zhao Fu wiped away the blood from his mouth and felt that he had not had enough. The heart was only as big as a fist and was not enough for him to eat. He could find more in the future. After coming out of the Black Tower and facing everyone's gazes of admiration, Zhao Fu did not mind and calmly left. The higher-ups of the Black Impermanence family found Zhao Fu and were even more courteous. They gave many spatial rings to Zhao Fu, which contained all sorts of items and treasures. Zhao Fu looked at them and felt quite delighted, and he thanked the Black Impermanence family. Now that they had officially formed an alliance, the Black Impermanence family would provide many resources and treasures to Qin. In the future, when Qin became more powerful, they would be able to repay them. Now that they had achieved their goal in coming to the Black Impermanence family, and the Black and White Impermanence had been satisfied, it was time for them to leave and head to the historical remnant. That night, Zhao Fu hugged the red-faced He Xiaomei and smiled as he said, "Now that you've agreed to come with us, I don't want to leave you here." He Xiaomei was He Xiaoji's mother, and she nodded shyly. The next day, they left the Black Impermanence family. He Xiaomei did not brazenly leave with Zhao Fu and instead left quietly to avoid He Wuxian. He Wuxian felt quite pained by Gui Ji's departure, so he did not care about his mother. A few days later, Zhao Fu and the others finally arrived at the historical remnant. Zhao Fu took out 7 keys and opened the historical remnant. Chapter 14:10. Zhao Fu and the others were standing on a tall mountain, and Zhao Fu took out 7 keys. The 7 keys gave off intense light, and 7 massive auras spread out. Immediately, the heavens and earth dimmed as the sky gave off all sorts of lights. A massive silver door giving off immense pressure slowly appeared in the sky. This silver door was 10,000 meters tall and did not stand in the sky. Instead, it lay in the sky, and there were all sorts of flowers, grass, trees, mountains, and rivers carved on it. It gave off a grand aura, and there were 7 keyholes at the center. When the silver door appeared, the people in the area also sensed the ripples coming from it and flew over curiously. Zhao Fu waved his hand, and the 7 keys turned into 7 rays of light that shot into the sky and stabbed into the 7 keyholes. Zhao Fu raised a hand, and a massive wave of power grabbed the 7 keys and twisted them. Boom! A shocking explosion sounded out as a massive shock wave containing immense power spread out, causing the sky to tremble. The entire sky seemed to become illusory as traces of aura spread out in all directions. This shock wave was incredibly powerful and affected a massive area. Even He Xiaojia's family sensed this shock wave, and their expressions fell as they hurried over. The nearby large faction's expressions became serious as they sensed the massive shock wave and quickly flew over, guessing that something big was about to happen. Clang! The silver door in the sky slowly opened, and a massive wave of cold and eerie aura flowed out, causing people's hairs to stand on end. The silver door gave off a silver light, and it was impossible to see what was inside. Zhao Fu looked at the people around him and said, "Come in with me. This historical remnant has given off too much noise, and I'm afraid many people will hurry over." Gui Ji and the other women nodded. Following this, Zhao Fu led everyone to fly towards the historical remnant and grabbed at the keys in the keyholes. Zhao Fu and the others flew into the historical remnant, and the silver door once again closed with a clang. Because he had the key, Zhao Fu could open the door to the historical remnant. From the looks of it, this historical remnant was not simple at all, and Zhao Fu would not share it with others. He wanted to monopolize this historical remnant. Not only would he eat the meat, he would not leave any soup for others. Moreover, this way, they could avoid danger and prevent others from entering. Naturally, they would not be spied on and attacked by others. After a while, the various experts also arrived. Looking at the silver door in the sky, they slightly frowned. They could all tell that this was a historical remnant, but the door was closed and they could not enter. A thinly haired elder giving off an Emperor Heaven Realm aura held a magic staff and vigorously swung it. A massive wave of ghostly chi flowed out and turned into a massive ghost head that smashed towards the silver doors. Boom! A massive explosion sounded out as the ghost head turned into countless traces of ghostly chi and dissipated. However, the silver door did not move at all and was not damaged at all. The elder stared in disbelief and prepared to unleash another attack. A young man dressed in red with an Een aura said mockingly, "Old Man Mu, it's best if you don't waste your strength. A higher being can't blast open this historical remnant." The old man called Old Man Mu recognized the young man and coldly looked at him, but did not continue to attack. It was most likely someone who opened the historical remnant, but closed the door so that no one could enter. I wonder who that person is. Thinking about what had happened, how could the people in the surroundings feel any anger? They had been forced to watch but could not do anything, making them feel quite anxious. However, they could only wait. This historical remnant was not simple at all, and they wanted to obtain something from it. They were not willing to go back empty-handed like this. He Xiaojia's family also dared to come, as did He Wuxian and Bai Wuxing. They did not know that it was Zhao Fu's group who had opened the historical remnant, and unkindly closed the door. Zhao Fu and his group went into the historical remnant and appeared on a mountainous region. There was dense vegetation around them, and there was no sound at all. There were no signs of activity at all, and the sky was gray and hazy, looking quite strange. After looking around for a while, Zhao Fu and the others continued onwards. Suddenly, a large number of formless creatures appeared in the surroundings and started to attack Zhao Fu and his group. However, not only could they not see the formless creatures, but their attacks were unable to deal any damage to them. Shanglong, He Xiaojie, and the others unleashed defensive barriers, but the formless creatures were able to easily pass through and attack them, causing them to be slightly injured. Nation armaments could not be used here, and the formless creatures were incredibly strange. Zhao Fu had unleashed his divine realm domain in time, and with his divine realm power, the formless creatures were stopped and were unable to attack them. However, it seemed that more and more formless creatures were gathering. They could not see the formless creatures, but they could sense more and more formless creatures gathering. The strange aura in the surroundings became more and more intense, and even a divine realm expert like Shang Long started to feel nervous. Were those things? Zhao Fu asked the others seriously. The others shook their heads, and He Xiaomei thought about it before saying, "They're most likely ghosts." This caused everyone to feel quite startled. Weren't ghosts the weakest and could be easily destroyed? Why are things like this now? He Xiaomei explained, the earliest ghosts in the underworld had this ability. They did not have any bodies and were immune to all attacks and defenses. They were incredibly strange, and only extremely high-grade power would be effective against them. Right now, only Zhao Fu's power was useful. No one else's power was of any use. Zhao Fu could not see the formless creatures, and he slashed out a few sword lights, feeling that he could scare them away. However, they soon gathered again. This time, Zhao Fu had no choice but to use the reincarnation eye. 6 gray dots quickly spun in Zhao Fu's right eye, and a gray vortex appeared in Zhao Fu's eye socket. A powerful suction force exploded out, and everything that Zhao Fu saw was sucked in. The formless creatures were no exception, as the 6 paths of reincarnation power was the bane of all ghosts. They naturally could not avoid it. After sucking in all of the surrounding ghosts, Zhao Fu felt some pain in his right eye, and he could feel that the ghosts were still struggling in his right eye. Zhao Fu became angry, and a wave of 6 paths of reincarnation power flowed into his right eye, refining all of the ghosts in his right eye. A formless energy entered Zhao Fu's right eye, and the pain gradually stopped. Chapter 14:11. In actuality, there was nothing special about these creatures, and they looked like humans. However, they wore white clothes and had pale faces. Their eyes were eerie as they floated in the surroundings. Now that they could see this group of formless ghosts, dealing with them was naturally quite easy. Zhao Fu did not fear them and continued onwards. When the formless ghosts came close, Zhao Fu sucked them into his right eye. The Seeking beast in the spirit pet ring became quite excited, and Zhao Fu immediately let it out because it had definitely found something good nearby. After being let out, the Seeking beast started to run. Because the Seeking beast was 1,000 meters long, it attracted all of the formless ghosts nearby. Now, Zhao Fu and the others were standing on its head. The vortex in Zhao Fu's right eye quickly spun and exploded out with an incredibly powerful suction force, sucking in all of the formless ghosts that came close. As such, they could see a shocking scene. A massive beast quickly crawled, and a powerful suction force above its head. The formless ghosts in the surroundings were sucked in, and the power in Zhao Fu's right eye became stronger and stronger. After a while, the Seeking beast stopped and killed a dozens of meters long Seeking beast with a single paw. Next to it was a 10-meter-tall tree. The tree was covered with fruits that were as big as lychees. They were gray-white and had smooth surfaces, and there were terrifying, ghostly faces on them. It looked like a very evil fruit tree. He Xiaojie cried out in delight. "These are ghost-face fruits. They're very precious, and can quickly increase our death race's cultivation. Moreover, just 10 of them can allow a Stage 9 death race member to break through to the Saint Realm. The other women also smiled. These fruits were quite important to them. Zhao Fu understood why He Xiaojia was so delighted. She and Bai Xiaoxi had Stage 9 cultivation, and with just 10 ghost-face fruits, they would be able to break through to the Saint Realm. Zhao Fu smiled as he said, "Go and pick the fruits. I'll be taking this ghost-face tree away." The women smiled as they picked the ghost-face fruits, while Shang Long stayed where he was. Because he was already a divine realm cultivator, the ghost-face fruits did not have much of an effect on him. The Seeking beast looked at the ghost-face fruits. It had world realm cultivation, so the ghost-face fruits were not very useful to it. However, with its nature, it still wanted to collect a few. Zhao Fu smiled and gave it a few, because it was the one who discovered it. After a while, Zhao Fu dug up the tree and planned to take it back to planet. The Seeking beast continued to search for treasures. However, 2 hours later, the Seeking beast bit a gray-scaled python to death and threw the corpse to the side. A snow-white flower appeared in front of everyone. It looked like a daffodil, and its petals were snow-white. Its branches were black, and it had 4 leaves. It was 30 centimeters tall, and there seemed to be a woman's figure imprinted on its branches. She looked like a goddess. Shang Long explained, "This is a ghost god flower and is of great help to ghost gods. It can greatly increase ghost gods' power." Hearing this, Guiji looked at Zhao Fu in anticipation. Zhao Fu was not stingy and had her take the flower and refine it. Guiji fused the ghost god flower into her body, and a powerful aura exploded out. Guiji originally only had Stage 3 cultivation, but she broke through to Stage 8 in just an instant, increasing her strength by 5 stages. Zhao Fu did not know if it was because the ghost god flower's effect were too good, or if it was because Guiji had once been a half-celestial. He Xiaojia and Bai Xiaoxi sat on the Seeking beast's back and closed their eyes to cultivate. They would most likely break through to the Saint Realm soon. After a while, the Seeking beast brought everyone to a stretch of mountains. This time, it didn't come out directly. Instead, it roared at the mountains. Rumble. The mountain range violently trembled as boulders tumbled down and dust flew everywhere. A dragon made of stone, giving off a massive and heavy aura, appeared in front of everyone. This stone dragon was 10,000 meters long, and its power surpassed the world realm. The Seeking beast understood that it could not defeat it, so it roared and lured the stone dragon out, so that Shang Long and Zhao Fu could kill it. After the stone dragon appeared, it roared at Zhao Fu and the others. The dragon's roar was incredibly loud, causing everyone's ears to ache and causing a wild gale to blow. Shang Long flew up and waved his banner, causing countless traces of yin qi to flood out and form an enormous ghost dragon. Shang Long fused into the ghost dragon and turned towards the stone dragon. Boom, boom, boom. The 2 enormous dragons started a fight. Their horns violently clashed, and their claws and tails ferociously attacked each other, resulting in massive explosions and wild gales. The stone dragon's advantage was that it had great defense and power, while the ghost dragon was at a disadvantage. After being attacked by the stone dragon, some of the ghostly chi would dissipate. The ghost dragon used all of its strength to open its mouth, and countless traces of yin qi madly gathered, forming an enormous gray orb of light. A destructive power spread out, and the ghost dragon raised its head and shot out the gray orb of light. The stone dragon opened its mouth, and countless traces of pale white light lit up the surroundings, causing the sky to be filled with danger. A terrifying power also spread out, and the stone dragon spat out a pale white ray of light. Boom! The massive gray orb of light and pale white ray of light collided, resulting in a shocking explosion. An energy barrier spread out with unstoppable force, instantly destroying everything in the surroundings. The ghost dragon and stone dragon were both sent flying back. The ghostly chi around the ghost dragon dissipated and Shang Long's body appeared, a trace of blood on his lips. There were many cracks on the stone dragon's body. Clang, clang, clang. At that moment, Zhao Fu acted. He stretched out a hand, and the 6 gray dots in his right eye quickly spun as a powerful 6 paths of reincarnation power flowed out. Gray chains shot out from the surroundings, binding the stone dragon. Shanglong waved his banner, and a massive wave of yin qi flowed out, turning into a few large hands that pressed against the stone dragon's body. Zhao Fu took out the Emperor Killing Sword and came before the stone dragon and lightly cried out, "Ghost Lord." A massive wave of ghostly power spread out from the Emperor Killing Sword, flooding out like a ferocious ocean. A ghost had appeared on the Emperor Killing Sword and wrapped around Zhao Fu's sword-wielding hand. Boom! Zhao Fu slashed out, and an enormous gray sword light slashed out, causing the heavens and earth to become cold. The sword light slashed against the stone dragon's neck, directly severing it. After the stone dragon died, its body turned into countless rocks and scattered, and a stone orb that was as big as a fist floated out. Zhao Fu stretched out his hand and caught the stone orb. He found that it was quite heavy and there was a dragon engraved on it. Chapter 14:12. An hour later, the Seeking Yin beast made another discovery and brought everyone to a massive tree devil. The tree devil was 1,000 meters tall and had human-like arms and legs, but its eyes and mouth were filled with holes, making it look quite terrifying. The tree demons were much weaker than the stone dragons, so Zhao Fu stretched out his hand and unleashed the 6 paths of reincarnation power. Chains bound up the tree demons, and the tree demons desperately struggled to break the chains. Shanglong waved the banner in his hand, and countless traces of yin qi flowed out, turning into an enormous sword that gave off ferocious power and split the tree devil in half. After killing the tree devil, a ginseng appeared in front of everyone, and Zhao Fu carefully dug it up. This ginseng was as big as a child's arm and was gray. There was a clear outline of a person on its surface, and it was an elderly person. This ginseng was called the 1,000-year ghost ginseng, and it could increase the lifespan of the Death Race's people by 100 years. Zhao Fu casually tossed it to Shanglong. Shanglong looked delighted and hurriedly thanked Zhao Fu. To Shanglong, lifespan and injuries were the most important things to him, as he was already quite old. In the next 10 days, the black and white impermanences broke through to the Saint Realm, and Han Lungli and the other women reached stage 8 cultivation. Shanglong also ate the ghost ginseng and became much younger, and he obtained countless treasures. Everyone looked quite delighted because they had all made good gains. Zhao Fu was also quite delighted. Just the gains from these 10 days were worth Zhao Fu coming to the underworld. After exploring the historical remnant for 10 days, Zhao Fu was shocked to find that they were only at the outermost region of the historical remnant, and he had no idea how much more space there was. Zhao Fu looked around and did not miss anything, so he planned to head to the inner region. There was a stage here with a 10-meter-tall silver door on it. It looked the same as the one outside, but there was no keyhole. There was also a scroll on the stone stage in front of it. There were countless ghosts gathered in the surroundings, and there were all sorts of ghosts. They were all corporeal and could be attacked by others, reducing the pressure on Zhao Fu. Zhao Fu first had them lured away a portion of the ghost horde. They split into 3 groups, one for the Seeking Yin beasts, one for the Shanglong, and one for the women. Then, Zhao Fu walked towards the huge group of ghosts alone. Roar! Sensing Zhao Fu's aura, the ghosts gave off massive roars and flooded toward Zhao Fu. Their cold and eerie auras filled the heavens and earth, causing people to fall into boundless terror. Zhao Fu's footsteps stopped, and his expression was calm. Facing such a terrifying ghost tide, he did not show any fear at all. He slowly closed his left eye and forcefully opened his right eye. 6 gray dots spun frantically. Boom! A gray vortex appeared in Zhao Fu's eye socket, and a massive suction force exploded out. Under the 6 paths of reincarnation's aura, the ghosts looked terrified and hurriedly retreated. However, Their bodies were sent flying back uncontrollably. Absorb! The massive ghost tide was quickly absorbed into Zhao Fu's right eye as if it had found a vent. Zhao Fu's right eye madly devoured the ghost's power, and he started to feel pain as a few traces of blood flowed out of his eye socket. A few hours later, Zhao Fu had absorbed the countless ghosts into his right eye. Even though Zhao Fu had stopped using the reincarnation eye, Zhao Fu's right eye gave off an unimaginably massive wave of ghostly power. By now, Zhao Fu's right eye socket had become a cross-shaped pupil and had crystallized, giving off an intense gray light. This gray light gave off an intensely dangerous aura, and ordinary ghosts would not be able to directly look at this eye. It could be said that Zhao Fu's right eye was a supreme treasure of the ghost race, as it had only formed after devouring countless ghosts. The massive wave of ghostly power caused the right side of Zhao Fu's face to become incredibly pale. After a while, Zhao Fu used the 6 paths of reincarnation's power and divine bloodline's power to suppress the power in his right eye, causing it to return to normal. The other 3 groups also destroyed the ghosts they had lured away and returned to Zhao Fu's side. Zhao Fu led everyone to the stage and picked up the scroll on the stage. The scroll was black and seemed to be made of animal fur. There were countless ghostly words written on it, and it gave off a mysterious and eerie aura. Following this, Zhao Fu found that this was a summoning scroll. However, the number of summoned ghosts was quite shocking, reaching 1 billion. That was right. This scroll could summon 1 billion ghosts, and it could be called an incredibly rare treasure. Otherwise, it definitely wouldn't have such terrifying abilities. Of course, this scroll could only be used once, and if it could be used many times, Zhao Fu would be invincible after summoning billions or trillions of ghosts. Zhao Fu carefully put the scroll into his spatial ring and led the others to the 2nd level of the historical remnant. This place seemed to be a battlefield. The sky was blood red and the ground was black. There were blood-stained weapons everywhere, and the surroundings were filled with an austere aura. It was as if a great battle had happened here, and the battle had been incredibly intense. Kill! 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 Hazy ghost soldiers wearing armor and holding weapons appeared from the battlefield, giving off a faint green light. They gave off an austere aura and coldly looked at Zhao Fu and the others. Facing these countless ghost soldiers, everyone's expressions became serious because they felt an intense sense of danger. Boom! Those spirit soldiers rushed over like a tidal wave. Their killing intent shook the heavens and the earth. Everything in the world could be killed, and the space seemed to have frozen under this aura. Under this aura, even the expression of Shang Long, who had the highest cultivation, became quite unsightly, and he felt that he might die here. Zhao Fu planned to once again use the reincarnation eye to absorb the ghost soldiers into his right eye. It was just that Zhao Fu's right eye had just devoured countless ghosts, so it was quite full. However, Zhao Fu could directly absorb them into the 6 paths of reincarnation. However, facing such an ocean of ghost soldiers, Zhao Fu felt a wave of pressure. These ghost soldiers were much more powerful than the ghosts from before. Suddenly, the Emperor Killing Sword started to tremble as Du, the Emperor Killing Sword's sword spirit and the Golden Dragon's little sister, said in Zhao Fu's mind, "Zhao Fu, you can use the Emperor Killing Sword. As long as you fully activate the Emperor Killing Sword's power, you will be able to suppress the ghost soldiers." Hearing this, Zhao Fu thought about the Emperor Killing Sword's attributes and found that it seemed to have a conquering attribute. Thinking about that, Zhao Fu gave a trace of a smile and took out the Emperor Killing Sword. He slashed his palm, causing his blood to fall onto the Emperor Killing Sword. Chapter 14:13. The Emperor Killing Sword stabbed into the ground, and a black wave of light spread out incredibly quickly. Zhao Fu roared, "Weapon Grandmaster!" Boom! A shocking explosion sounded out as the Emperor Killing Sword exploded out with a black pillar of light that shot into the sky with terrifying power, causing the sky to tremble. The black light spread out in the sky, and a berserk gale blew out from the pillar of light. A massive wave of killing intent erupted out from the ground like a volcano, giving off an aura that seemed to be able to sweep away everything as it spread out. Shanglong and the others beside Zhao Fu could sense just how terrifying this power was. They could feel their bodies stiffen as they were ravaged by this wave of killing intent. Their hearts felt icy cold, and they felt immense terror. Boom! The black light wave instantly spread to the position of the Spectre soldiers and continued to spread out. The Spectre soldiers who were within it were all frozen in place. It was a shocking sight. The murderous aura that gushed out like a tidal wave in all directions was like the mouth of a monster, swallowing the frozen Spectre soldiers one by one. The light wave rapidly enveloped the entire battlefield, causing the countless ghost soldiers on the battlefield to come to a halt. Then, they were drowned by the ferocious killing aura. The blood-red sky gradually turned black as the killing aura spread out. In the end, the ferocious killing aura that was like a tidal wave covered the entire battlefield, devouring all the spirit soldiers without exception. Not a single one was able to escape. At this moment, everything seemed to have come to a standstill, causing the entire world to be filled with killing intent. Zhao Fu smiled as he slowly pulled out the sword from the ground. As Zhao Fu pulled out the sword, the massive wave of killing intent once again flowed into the Emperor Killing Sword. An even more powerful aura spread out from the Emperor Killing Sword, as it had devoured so many ghost soldiers. The battlefield, which had been filled with countless ghost soldiers, was now completely empty. Zhao Fu put the Emperor Killing Sword away and smiled as he said, "Let's go." Following this, they came to the entrance to the second level. Just like the first entrance, there was a stage with a 10-meter-tall silver door. There was also a stone stage with a book on it. Around the stage was a 10,000-meter-tall creature that looked like both a human and a ghost. It was humanoid and wore tattered black clothes. It had a pair of sharp claws and a monster-like head with 2 bull horns and 4 eyes. It gave off a terrifying aura and looked quite terrifying. As Zhao Fu advanced, Shanglong said, "Master, this is a soul-carving beast. This is a soul-carving beast, a type of soul beast that can attack one's mind. Furthermore, from the aura it's giving off, it's extremely powerful. Furthermore, it has the ability to turn its body illusory and real. Even with our cultivation bases, it'll be very dangerous for us to face it." After hearing Shanglong's warning, Zhao Fu's expression became serious. However, thinking about his divine bloodline power and 6 paths of reincarnation power, Zhao Fu decided to go by himself and have everyone else stay here. The soul-carving beast discovered Zhao Fu, and its 4 black eyes stared at Zhao Fu as it gave a massive roar. A sound wave spread out, bringing with it a wild gale and a mental attack. In the distance, Shanglong and the others felt an intense pain in their heads. This caused their expressions to fall. They had been affected even though they were standing so far away. So how could Zhao Fu, who was the closest, be affected? They hurriedly looked at Zhao Fu. Zhao Fu had already released his divine domain, which weakened much of the sound wave attack, but his head still hurt, causing Zhao Fu's expression to become slightly unsightly. He felt that he had underestimated the soul-carving beast. The gray dot in Zhao Fu's right eye spun, and eerie chains shot out from the ground towards the soul-carving beast. However, the soul-carving beast did not move at all and did not show any signs of resisting, making Zhao Fu feel quite surprised. However, in the next second, Zhao Fu found the reason. The countless chains passed through its body, making it seem like an illusory image and unable to bind it. What shocked Zhao Fu the most was that Zhao Fu had sent large amounts of 6 paths of reincarnation power into each of the chains. Ordinary ghosts would find it difficult to resist 6 paths of reincarnation power, but the soul-carving beast could weaken the 6 paths of reincarnation power. Perhaps it was because Zhao Fu was still too weak, or else even if it was just an illusory image, the 6 paths of reincarnation power would have been able to bind it. Boom! The soul-carving beast raised a hand and gave off a ferocious gale as it slammed toward Zhao Fu. Zhao Fu tried to dodge to the side, but a sharp claw appeared in his mind and slammed toward Zhao Fu. Zhao Fu's expression fell, and he was not prepared at all. He was sent flying and crashed to the ground, feeling immense pain in his head. However, Zhao Fu's soul was strengthened by his divine bloodline and his divine sense, making his mind quite powerful. Otherwise, an ordinary person would have died from that mental attack. The soul-carving beast coldly looked at Zhao Fu with its 4 eyes before suddenly opening them and shooting out 4 rays of black light containing terrifying power. Zhao Fu hurriedly dodged to the side, and the 4 rays of black light landed where Zhao Fu had been standing. A massive explosion sounded out, creating a 1,000-meter-wide crater, and Zhao Fu's body was sent flying by the shockwave. After crashing to the ground, Zhao Fu coughed up a mouthful of blood. He Xiaojie and the other women wanted to go up and help, but Shang Long stopped them. They would not be of any use and would instead make trouble for Zhao Fu. The soul-carving beast's 4 eyes once again fell on Zhao Fu's body, and they gave off a ghostly light. They once again opened, and a formless mental attack rushed toward Zhao Fu. Zhao Fu was still quite fast and quickly escaped, but that mental attack did not seem to have an AoE. 4 eyes appeared in Zhao Fu's mind and shot out 4 rays of black light towards his soul. In that moment, Zhao Fu's hair stood on end, and he felt an intense sense of danger. Zhao Fu instantly used the Emperor-killing sword, and a terrifying sword intent blasted towards the soul-carving beast in his mind. Under the massive sword intent, the soul-carving beast shattered into countless pieces and disappeared. Zhao Fu's Emperor-killing sword could fuse with the killing heart sword and had the power to destroy minds. After destroying the image of the soul-carving beast in his mind, the soul-carving beast howled. A trace of anger appeared on Zhao Fu's face as he held the Emperor-killing sword, and a black and blood-red sword light slashed out, giving off a mountain-splitting power as it slashed towards the soul-carving beast. This time, the soul-carving beast did not dare to be careless because the Emperor-killing sword had the power to destroy minds and could cut through space-time. If its body became illusory, the Emperor-killing sword would still be able to injure it. Boom! Chapter 14:14. Sword Master. Seeing that his sword had been blocked by the Black Ghost shield, Zhao Fu roared, and the Emperor-killing sword exploded out with an incredibly powerful sword intent, which turned into a berserk sword chi storm that slammed into the Black Ghost shield. Kacha! A crisp sound rang out as the soul-bonding beast's expression changed. Under the bombardment of the sword chi storm, small cracks began to appear on the Black Ghost shield. The sword chi surged into the cracks, causing the cracks to grow larger and larger. Roar! The soul-carving beast roared, and a black aura flowed out, turning into 3-meter-tall monsters that looked just like the soul-carving beast. Their eyes locked on a Zhao Fu as they turned into rays of light and shot toward Zhao Fu. Facing the countless soul-carving beast clones, Zhao Fu immediately retreated and continuously slashed out with his sword, sending out countless black and blood-red arcs of light, killing the incoming soul-carving beasts. However, the black aura around the soul-carving beast continuously flowed out, forming soul-carving beast clones. The soul-carving beast continuously rushed toward Zhao Fu, and whenever Zhao Fu was careless, they would enter Zhao Fu's mind and attack him. Zhao Fu's sword gave off a massive sword light, killing the incoming soul-carving beasts. However, there were still a few that entered Zhao Fu's mind from the side, attacking Zhao Fu's mind, causing him to feel immense pain in his head. A wave of sword intent entered his mind and killed the soul-carving beasts. Zhao Fu felt quite annoyed and roared, "Celestial mode, activate!" Boom! An intense, rainbow-colored light spread out, illuminating the surroundings, and a terrifying aura blew out like a wild gale. A rainbow-colored magic formation appeared on Zhao Fu's forehead, and a rainbow-colored circle of runes appeared around Zhao Fu. Right now, Zhao Fu's aura was incredibly powerful, The rainbow-colored runes around him slowly rotated, causing the void to tremble. It was as if the entire world was terrified of Zhao Fu. Celestial mode pushed all the powers in Zhao Fu's body to the limit. Whether it was his divine blood or the 6 paths of reincarnation power, they were all pushed to the limit. Moreover, heaven and earth power continuously flowed into Zhao Fu's body. This was the first time he had used immortal mode in battle. It was as if he was really an immortal controlling the heavens and earth. In the distance, Shang Long and the others looked at Zhao Fu in fear as they stood in the air, giving off an incredibly terrifying aura. The black and white impermanences were quite familiar with Zhao Fu's power, so they were not too surprised. However, they were incredibly shocked to see Shang Long, Han Lung Li, and the others following Zhao Fu. Even now, they did not know who Zhao Fu was. The soul-bonding beast also had a look of fear on its face, but had nowhere to run. Otherwise, it would have wanted to escape. Now it could only fight with all its might. Roar, roar, roar. The soul-bonding beast continuously roared, and countless traces of black aura flowed out like a flood, forming countless clones that covered the sky as they rushed at Zhao Fu. The main body also gave off a ferocious aura as it rushed over. At that moment, Zhao Fu's expression was calm as he put away the Emperor Killing Sword. He stretched out a hand, and a rainbow-colored magic formation appeared on his palm. It gave off a piercing rainbow-colored light as a massive celestial's power spread out. Clang, clang, clang. The sound of chains tore through the air as rainbow chains shot out from behind Zhao Fu, giving off immense power as they flooded towards the incoming soul-bonding beasts. Chi, chi, chi. The rainbow chains gave off ferocious power as they pierced through the chests of the soul-bonding beasts, killing them and causing them to turn into black aura and dissipate. Countless rainbow-colored chains killed the doppelganger of the soul-bonding beast. Like agile snakes, they turned their heads and shot towards the main body of the soul-bonding beast. The soul-bonding beast looked terrified and turned its body incorporeal again. However, the rainbow-colored chains still bound the soul-bonding beast. This was because the rainbow chains now had the power of a divine bloodline and 6 paths of reincarnation power, as well as a trace of a true celestial's power. The soul-bonding beast's incorporeal ability was useless against Zhao Fu. The soul-bonding beast was bound by the countless chains and gave off furious roars as it continuously struggled, but it was unable to break free from the chains. Zhao Fu coldly laughed as he flew to the top of the soul-bonding beast's head and looked at it. The soul-bonding beast's 4 eyes furiously looked at Zhao Fu, and the two of them stared at each other. Now that my right eye has become a supreme treasure of the death race, I'm only missing an eye spirit. Today, you'll be my eye spirit. Zhao Fu's voice was cold and domineering, not giving the soul-bonding beast any chance to gather. The gray dot in his right eye started to spin, and Zhao Fu's cross-shaped pupil started to spin as well. A gray vortex appeared in Zhao Fu's eye socket, and its attractive force was 10 or so times greater than before. Roar, roar, roar. The soul-bonding beast furiously roared and continuously struggled, but its massive body was slowly sucked in by Zhao Fu's right eye. In just a few minutes, the soul-bonding beast's 10,000-meter-long body was sucked in by Zhao Fu's right eye. Zhao Fu did not deactivate his celestial mode, and instead sent his power into his right eye to refine the soul-bonding beast into an eye spirit, which was similar to an item spirit. This was because the soul-bonding beast was an extremely rare ghost beast. Its power could be passed down through its bloodline. Zhao Fu had refined the soul-bonding beast into an eye spirit, and in the future, Zhao Fu's children would also have eye spirits in their right eyes, and they would have the same abilities as the soul-bonding beast. Soul-bonding beasts were normally controlled by signing contracts, and Zhao Fu had chosen to forcefully refine them because he had the strength to do so. After more than half a day, Zhao Fu had refined the soul-bonding beast, and it obediently stayed within Zhao Fu's right eye. Its power had become much stronger because of Zhao Fu's terrifying divine bloodline's power. Husband, you're so strong. He Xiaoji's mother, He Xiaomei, leapt into Zhao Fu's embrace and said with a look of shock and worship, Mother, you don't know husband's identity yet, but you'll know when you return to Qin City. I guarantee that your jaw will drop. Your daughter won't let you serve a nobody, He Xiaoji said confidently as she smiled. A trace of redness appeared on He Xiaomei's face as she thought about the scene of her and her daughter serving Zhao Fu together. She had planned to enjoy it once and not go to Zhao Fu again, but she could not help but come to Zhao Fu's room every night. Bai Xiaoxi looked at this scene with envy. He Xiaojia had her mother by her side every day, while she could only see her family after returning to her family. In actuality, she had thought about having her mother serve Zhao Fu as well. Her mother would definitely fall in love with Zhao Fu, but she still had her father. If she did that, she would be letting him down, so she did not dare to do so. You're tuning into the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.